Hello guys, welcome to another stream on BreakingHeads. Welcome to the final stage. That's my exciting voice. I'm here today casting the quarterfinals of the WARPhammer Championship 2020. I'm very happy to have another caster with me, which is Trevy from Tactical Tortoise. Hi Trevy.
Hey, Fred, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and I'm psyched for this game. This is going to be a sick one.
I'm very happy to have you here. Maybe you tell the viewers just in 2 sentences, maybe what is Tactical Tortoise? Why are you here?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, Tactical Tortoise is a 40K-centric YouTube channel. You can get to us over at youtube.com/Tactical Tortoise. We do a lot of content over there, but we also do a lot of competitive play on Tabletop Simulator. So we have a Discord channel in which we run infinite tabletop simulator tournaments for 40K, just dozens of them, multiple every week. So come hang out if you want to play a ton of 40K on TTS. And we also host a global ranking system for online 40K events, which this event will be scored in, called the T5S2 series. And at the end of every 6-month season, we do a big invitational with the top players from that season. So yeah, it's a good time. Come hang out with us and play in these scored events to get those ranks up.
Cool. Thank you for this short rundown. Yes, as you said, this event is also part of the Tactical Tortoise League, and I'm very happy to collaborate on that. And we have now just a few players left in our championship. We have been doing, I think, like 8 TTS events in the last year, and now we thought we make something big, and we have introduced the WARPhammer Championship. And before that, we have always been like a German player base only, and now we catch some international ones. I will now go and introduce to the audience and also to you, because you don't know yet, the format of this event, and tell everyone where we are now. So this event was quite complicated. We wanted to make like a big event with lots of players, but also we were thinking how to accomplish that in TTS, because people don't play in one weekend like 6 games of TTS. That's basically impossible. No one really wanted to do that. So we stick to 1 game per week, and then we thought, okay, but we need too many rounds. How can we do this? Okay, we did different stages. So first we put all the 120 players, which we started with, into groups of 4 players, and they all played in 3 rounds against each other. And then they were basically seeded in the upper or in the lower playoffs. And getting into these playoffs meant you have a better chance of getting to the final stage, which is then basically a single elimination tournament for the grand final. 6 players from the upper playoffs would make it to the grand finals, and only 2 players from the lower playoffs. So that meant if you had a bad start in the group stage, you still had a shot, you still had a good chance to make it to the grand final, but you really have to score high, and you really have to strike out the competition, because obviously after 3 rounds in the playoffs there will be other players undefeated, and if you're not the undefeated player with the most battle points, you will not get further. Because we had these 3 stages, we also had the opportunity to change lists in between the events, and this helped us to stay a little bit on track, because we are having the Death Guard in the tournament in the playoffs, and we also use the new WTC the new WTC and the new GW FAQ, but we sadly couldn't take the Dark Angels in because they came in too late. So that's where we're at. We are now at the last quarter of our tournament, 3 more rounds to go, and we are now in the quarterfinals, and this is one of the matches. Another match is also streamed tomorrow live here on BreakingHeads, which will be Sisters of Battle against Forces of the Hive Mind. And on another channel, the Donau Trolle TV, there is the match happening right now, which is Harlequins against Space Marines, Salamanders, and tomorrow is going to be Necron Mirror. Okay, so now, Trevor, you also know where we're at, and the viewers do. Let's go into today's matchup.
Sounds good. Yeah, it's definitely seems like an interesting format. The non-elimination style means that, or double elimination, I guess, means that I think you get a little bit more of a holistic look at the skill level of players. You don't get knocked out by a bad matchup or some bad dice early on, and you still have the chance to get back in the event. So I really I really think that format is sort of the way forward, and it's really cool that a system like Tabletop Simulator lets us play these kind of big sprawling events like that, which can generate really interesting meta games. Once
Yes,
you get
exactly.
to the
Yeah,
championship,
people had the
stage.
chance to actually analyze the meta game of the group stage and then change the list and adjust to it. Obviously, there were even changes in the meta because of new rules and so on.
Yes.
It's kind of weird, and also it has been like 8 weeks now since we got to this point. I'm a bit feeling, this has been going so long. I wish I had just had 1 week of tournament and so on. But yes, we can play one game per week. That's the maximum players can take, at least from our experience. And we are kind of experimenting. And for the next smaller WARPhammer tournaments, we're gonna go down a bit, like maybe only three games and then a top cut. Yeah.
Sure.
But now we're here in the quarterfinals, and we have an amazing matchup for us. We have Orcs against Tyranids. We have Andy Ham against Kayu Orelella Nana. And I totally messed up this last time. I knew it. I'm really excited. I'm an Orc player at heart. I know people mainly know me from playing Harlequins on this channel, but I've played so much Orcs in my life, and I'm really happy to see them in the final stage. And Trevy, you have been playing Tyranids a lot, I think. Also, I heard a podcast with you on Tyranids and Art of War podcast. I think people have maybe listened on to that before. So I think we should just go introduce the players to the audience and also go down the army list. I will do the Orc army, and you can later do the Tyranid army list.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds like we might have a little bit of a caster rivalry here today. I think we both know which faction we're each going to be rooting for.
Oh,
so
yes.
I hope my faction wins.
I don't know how do you do it, but I definitely always root for just my favorite. I don't care. I'm not being neutral when I cast.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, I have a tough time being unbiased about Tyranids. So I hope both of these players have a wonderful game. It's very tight and close, and it ends with the Tyranids' victories. So,
perfect. Okay, let's go to the probably winning faction. That's going to be the Orcs, piloted by Andy. And Andy is running a list which didn't change much actually over the course of the tournament. He is playing Deathscar Mech Orcs. He has three buggies of the good buggies, which is the Scrapjets and the Dragstars. And he has upgraded both of them. So the Scrapjets can double fight. The Dragstars can always jump around and basically be super mobile. Then he also has, you can see there in small with the red circle, that is it's a unit of 3 Death Dreads. They all have custom mega shooters, and they have been upgraded to always hit on, not always, but get a ballistic skill of 4. So they're extra shooty for Orcs. And
it's custom mega weapons.
Yes, exactly.
Right? The strength 6d6 damage weapon.
Yeah. And with the Deathscar rewards, very, very nice. In general, this army really makes a lot of use of the Deathscar rules. So they all get a bit more tough with 6-up invulnerable save, which actually does matter a lot because all the Orc vehicles are kind of squishy. And all these units, so the 3 Dragstars, the 3 Scrapjets, and the 3 Death Dreads, they all become individual units after being set up. So that means they all have their Deathscar rewards like ×3. That's very good. I think a new addition that came for this list for the players were the 2 gun wagons from the Forge World. I think they're kind of like a new addition to the Orc arsenal, and they basically do the same but on longer range and on a tougher vehicle. So it's basically a battle wagon with a strength 8 minus 3 damage, 2d6 shots cannon, which is pretty nice. Can also transport 6 models and gives him some options. One of the options being the unit of 3 Meganobs, which is to be transferred by them. The Meganobs extra nice in the Deathscar detachment, of course. Just 3 really benefiting from these rewards, and they get objectives secured even though they're not troops. Very nice addition here. I think very good as well. He has included a unit of 30 boys, which is half shooter, half slugger boys, and 2 units of Gretchens. And of course, now we finally get to the HQ section. There we have the Forge World. Used to be Forge World. Now it's just a normal. Oh, no, it's still Forge World. The biker boss. Yes, he's still in the Forge World book. But he's not Legends anymore.
He's in the
at least,
Armor Compendium. Correct.
Okay, yeah, he's of course included. He has been upgraded with the Killer, the biggest boss. So he gets +1 toughness, +1 wound, +1 attack, and of course, most importantly, he gets 4+ invulnerable save. He has the Killer Claw, and he has the Warlord trait that he does more damage in close combat, and he has a damage 4 weapon, rerolling hit and 2 wound. That's very nice. He's going to be very beefy. I'm hoping to see him slice up some big monsters from the Tyranids. I'm sure we will see that. In the end, some more mobility in this list. There will be a Weird Boy with the jump and just a truck. So that was maybe a long rundown. And I was supposed to do this in a short version, right? Yes. And I thought, okay,
yeah, that's
whatever.
Okay. That's a short version.
Okay, I have more to tell about Andy for now because we want to look at his stats. So Andy, he went 2-1 in the group stage and made the second spot in the group stage, so he could go into the upper playoffs. In the group stage, we saw him play against Space Wolves, Khorne, Astrometaum. He lost against Space Wolves, but against Khorne, Astrometaum, he took very convincing victories, and this brought him to the upper playoffs. In the upper playoffs as well, he had very convincing victories against Tyranids before, so he already knows Tyranids, come on, he's going to win. And against Salamanders actually as well. He had a very tight game in the third round of the upper playoffs against a Tzeentch army. I think this had like, what was again? The Rubric Marines with the 2-up invulnerable save or 3-up invulnerable save, very tough for the Orcs, but he still managed to go ahead on that. And with that, he finished as second place in the upper playoffs and has just been seeded against the basically second worst player, how we ranked them, and that was the first player from the lower players, where we're going to go now. Why don't you introduce the army from Kayu?
Good stuff. Yeah. And just as a closing note, I guess, to the Orc army, this is a really interesting archetype that we're seeing sort of come out as a counterpoint to either the big boy spam lists like the Gazgul Thraka, huge hordes of boys, or just the kill tanks. And one thing that I like about this list is that it uses these cannon wagons, which are sort of a sleeper hit out of the Imperial Armor Compendium, which a lot of people overlooked, but the profile on these cannon wagons is really impressive, shooting an enormous range at a semi-reliable profile. One thing that's important to note about them is that with those Grot Gunners, they hit on 4s with their main cannon. So unlike a lot of Orc ranged attacks, it's a pretty decent long range, just sort of poking gun that you can send out there. And they're almost never in threat of their opponent because they're relatively fast. They got that super long range cannon. They don't need to be up close to their opponent like the Scrap Jets and like the Death Dreads do. So a lot of times they get to shoot all 5 rounds of the game, and there's not really much your opponent can do about it. And then on top of that, we just have the Weird Boy and the Orc boys to just take a lot of table space and be able to at least rocket them into an objective when you need them to. And then the Shock Jump Dragsters as well can bounce around the table. So a lot of mobility in what otherwise looks like a pretty static gun line, which is a really interesting and very sort of finesse-oriented style of a list.
Exactly, yes. It's I see them as very mobile smasher guns, the gun wagons.
yeah, basically. Yeah, mobile and hard to kill. It's not like a smasher gun where you pop it out, your opponent immediately blows it up. The cannon wagon will take a lot of shooting. 16 wounds is tough to get through, especially when you're sitting 5 feet away from your opponent's army.
Let's go to the Tyranid army from Kayu.
Yes, let's do it. This army is pretty sick. This is a list after my own heart. It is very aggressive, but also includes a lot of the ranged elements that make Tyranids great in 9th edition right now. It's coming off with a patrol detachment coming out of High Fleet Kraken that's led by the Swarm Lord, the big man himself, ready to double move some dudes around the table. We have a ton of infantry in this detachment, and it being High Fleet Kraken, these guys are going to be everywhere on the table. Wherever they want to be, they're going to be able to get there. We have 17 Gene Stealers in one big unit of them with their 4 Acid Maws and their free Scything Talon upgrades. 2 units of 25 Hormagaunts, no upgrades on them. Following that up with 2 lictors, mostly to deploy scramblers. But in this case, I think we're going to raise the banners with those guys because this is a retrieval mission matchup. And last, but certainly not least, in the Kraken detachment, we have 2 Dimacarons. Both of them, they're taking both of the adaptive physiology slots out of this list. And I love this pick. Both of them with accelerated digestion, which is going to heal them a wound for every model that they kill with a melee attack, up to a maximum of 3 wounds per turn. Now, note that's per turn. That's not per battle round. So they could potentially be healing 6 wounds per round with that. On top of their base 18 wounds, they have a 5+ invulnerable save, and you can catalyst them to further supplement that survivability. So a lot of times it's difficult to chew through all 18 wounds in a Dimacaron in one phase. And as soon as you don't do that, they just heal back up 3 of those and potentially 6. And it just they just become a pain to deal with. It's a super cool combination. Following that up in the list, we have another patrol detachment coming out of High Fleet Kronos. This is led by a Neurothrope who's bringing the Resonance Barb for +1 to cast. And it won't matter, but also an additional cast and potentially relevant, an additional deny. We also have a unit of Ripper Swarms to fill out the troops allotment in that patrol. And capping it off with, I think, the traditional double Hive Guard. We got to have some Hive Guard in this Tyranid list somewhere, and we're bringing 10 of them. So 1 unit of 6, 1 unit of 4 to add some backline ranged presence to the army. Really an interesting sort of artillery skew style of Tyranids. And one thing that this list is going to do is, in addition to presenting a very aggressive front line with these Dimacarons and these Gene Stealers, forcing your opponent to respect your threat ranges. And that means that they're going to be disincentivized from advancing on your army. So, what they don't want to do is walk into the threat range of your whole army, get hit by Gene Stealers and 2 Dimacarons all at once and just lose. But if they don't advance, they never touch the Hive Guard. And the Hive Guard will just clear everything on these center 4 objectives every turn. And, eventually you're going to just start losing by attrition. So you have to get in to try to deal with the Hive Guard, and in doing so, you just walk into the threat range of those Dimacarons. Then on top of that, the Hormigons are an awesome pick for High Fleet Kraken. One big benefit of the Hormigont unit is that their base movement of 8, and there's a lot of them. There's 25 in the unit, which means a lot of times, even though we have Death Skulls on the other side of the table, and a lot of their army is going to be objective secured, at least on their Orc infantry, you can easily outnumber them with those big Hormigon swarms, and they are ridiculously quick. The base movement of 8 you can use opportunistic advance to double the amount that they advance, and then on top of the High Fleet Kraken bonus, that's probably a 5 or a 6 on the roll. So they're going, I don't know, like 18 to 20 inches. Then you can Metabolic Overdrive to double that again, so they can go 36, and then you can Hive Commander them. So they could potentially be moving like 50 inches in a turn. No big deal.
Yeah, crazy.
You're going to take all your objectives. They're going to break all your banners. They're going to you don't get any primary objective points. Get out of here. Obviously, they're not going to be dealing any damage. We're just bringing them for that mobility and that objective secured. But that forces your opponent to reorient their focus on your frontline objective units and have to take shots away from killing Gene Stealers or trying to deal with the Hive Guard, and those big monsters and big ranged attacks are just going to slowly crush your army while you do so. So super cool combination of units in this Tyranid list. I'm really excited to see it play on the table.
That's an amazing list. I really like playing this. Would like to play this as well. It has lots of mobility, and I think both armies have the infantry to float the board, but also have all these tools, and even the orcs have the mobility with their cars right now. I think it's best to now go into the interview with both of our players, because they are eagerly waiting to start the game. They have already deployed, and they just want to do the roll-off for going first on out. And we are going to hop into the interview now.
Sounds good. Let's hear from them.
Put them on. So, 1 second, guys. Hi, guys. 1 second. How do I get you onto this? Oh, the sound. There's no sound yet. Hold on. Of course, I forgot something. And here we go. Yeah, perfect.
Hello.
Hi, Andy. Hi, Kayu. We have just introduced your armies and talked a little bit about your history in this tournament. And Trevy now also knows what the WARPhammer Championship is. That's I'm happy. And
it's It's a learning day, We're getting educated.
Oh, by the way, yes. What's happening here?
Well,
Yeah,
I
okay.
do not hear Trevy, just saying.
Oh, you cannot hear Trevy?
No.
Maybe you have to unmute yourself in the Discord. Yes.
In the Discord. Yes.
Hello,
everyone. How's it going?
Yeah, thanks, Trevy. That's
Hi there.
such a pleasure being in the same stream with such a celebrity.
Okay, I appreciate it. I'll try not to let it go to my head.
All right, try to.
I'm the judge today, not Trevy. You have to. Yeah.
Okay, Trevy, forget what I said.
Yeah,
you're the
you need to
celebrity.
butter up Fred. I'm not making the judgment calls for you guys.
I get it. All right.
Yeah, so we are. So I'm basically rooting for the Orcs. That was clear. Trevy is a big fan of Tyranids and has been playing this himself.
Sorry.
Yeah, we don't want to stop this game for any longer, but we're going to have some questions to ask to you. I think the best question to start off with is to you, Kayu. So you went in the group stage. Your group stage didn't go so well, and you also had a very different army. And then you went into the lower playoffs, but you really wrecked all these players there and came out first. So maybe you can tell the viewers a little bit about how your how your road through the tournament has been going for yourself in your own experience.
All right. So, well, thanks for the question. First of all, in the group stage, I played a mix between Tyranids and Genes to the Colts.
Mm-hmm.
Which I tend to do from time to time, but to be very honest with you, it was like a little bit more of an experiment. There were a few units in the build. I tried to do a little bit of everything as I do normally in lists, but it's like it didn't really work out. I mean, I also had formidable opponents in the group stage that were just too much for me, to be very honest with you. They in the first game, Filippo with the Harlequin, but I think I gave this one a little bit away since my prioritization of like damaging his units was not very, very on point. I experimented too much with different effects, especially with Perfect Ambush.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't pay out. And he just wrecked me. That's basically the point. Second match played against I'm sorry, but I don't recall the name entirely. But it was like he played like a Chaos Demon Siege army list, and he did a great like 3d6 charge in turn 2 with the Bloodletter. Since I didn't screen cleanly enough in my Hive Guard, if the Hive Guard's gone, the whole thing is going south. And in the third match, I didn't even play because I had an appointment with a date fixed and a time fixed with my opponent, but I had some stuff with work where I couldn't make it, and then I had to concede. So I went into the playoffs with no points actually, or no wins at all.
And changing your list, what was your thinking about that? Like there were no Demarcarans in your list before. Now there are, and everyone knows they're quite strong. What's your take on that?
Well, okay. I thought in the very first place when I played the group stage, I thought that the tournament was over for me, like entirely. I didn't know that there was a playoff stage. So then I was like, yeah, okay. Apparently there's more matches. So I would just go with whatever I had like ready and like played in training, because I played a lot with Kampfgarten in the Discord and TTS, and he's playing Space Wolves. And when you're playing Space Wolves, from my perspective, like he brings 3 Redemptors, I need something to kill them. So it's like, so I have the Demarcarans in my roster because of that. And it turned out to be great. But I think half of the result of my playoff stage was actually that I always have the first turn. I think I did, and this plays a major role into these matches, to be very honest with you, because I played twice against armies that contained Imperial Guard or with 2 Manticores, and that's a freaking huge difference if you're first or not, and I think this played a major role in that.
So you just got lucky.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much first turn,
Okay, Trevy, you want to ask a question to the orc?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What's a good one? How many how many Dimacrons are we going to kill in the first round of this game?
None.
Let's throw
That's
down.
Well, my plan is start the game and then I'm not killing any.
Okay.
I think if
Continue
Kayu starts
that way
and
too.
plays it that way as he should, I'm still going to kill none in the first turn. If he starts running into me, I'm going to kill them both. But he's not going to do that. So that's
Sounds like that sounds like a suitably unorky attitude to have. I think the correct answer is all of them.
But that's
That
always
would
the
be
case.
Believe in yourself.
the organ says daka 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 to everything. That's what really counts. No, but what I've discovered with the list, the less I play aggressively, the better it is. Because I have so much shooting. If you come to the middle of the board, you're dead. I haven't played an opponent yet who had much left by the end of the game. Always been the case. I've lost games, yes, quite a few, but never against an opponent who had much left. So if you want to fight, you can get a fight, and you're not going to survive it. You might win on objectives, that could happen, but it's going to be a killy match. I think Kayu's gone defensively with his secondaries, with his deployment, so we'll see how that goes. I'm not too positive on killing everything today. And that's not good for me, but we'll see.
Okay, that's a very interesting approach. I think that's what all the good orc players always say to the orc crowd, who wants just go charging at the enemy, but you have to play more strategic and be more sneaky. And you definitely had success with your list before. You went 2-1 in the group stage, and then also 3-0 in the upper playoffs. But this was also the upper playoffs. And as far as I could tell, the change of your list wasn't that big. You still had the same, I would say, core of the scrap sheds, the dragstars, and the death threats. Would you say this list is a good all-comers list by now, or do you think you also got a bit lucky with some matchups or not?
I've seen a lot of matchups, and also I'm playing the same list in the Greek hammer as well, so I get to theory hammer against a lot of lists. There's not that many bad matchups. So I think one of the worst matchups I could have had was my third game in the upper playoffs against Siege Demons. They don't care about my high minus. They don't care much about my high damage output, and I don't have that high number of shots to really take him down, to really worry him. So that was a really tough matchup. It turned out a super tough game. Won it in the end with some luck, some crazy luck. And I think that was the worst matchup I could have imagined. Everything else I tend to go fine. But you said no big changes in the list. Yes and no. It's only basically 3 death threats out, 2 cannon wagons in. But the cannon wagons make a huge difference. They change how I can play the list, and that's important.
More range, more mobility.
Yeah, more range. Before my group stage lists, I lost the first game. There was a couple of strange things happening in that game with some crazy rolling. But the basic story was I couldn't touch him unless I engaged with him. And if you engage with Spaceballs, this was Jan, Adam and Iraq. And if you try to engage with them, they just take you off the board. And that's what happened. And the cannon wagons give me the opportunity to engage when I want to. I can step back for a while at least. And that's important in matchup like these. You see a lot of this to have a lot of power in close combat. I can have a lot of power in close combat too, but I die faster than the other guy. So I need to stay out of that for a while.
Okay, we don't want to get too much strategy out of you yet. This is for maybe the post-game interview. We can recap the game together a little bit. Trevy, you have any more questions to one of the players?
Yeah, I have a question for both of them. Who's going to win the game? Give us a little.
I'll take it. I have to be optimistic. I mean, it's Kayu. That's a big obstacle there. Biggest there is, one of the biggest. So, but I'm just trying to be positive. Going to take it. That might be more optimistic than I should be, but I'll try to be.
Truly orky attitude.
Well, look, I think when it comes to the very honest exchange of damage, right, and power, I think he will win. When it comes to the secondaries, I will win.
Nice.
That's what I think.
Okay, and then we will see how it comes.
Yeah, I think it comes down to if he's able to apply his huge damage enough. That's what it comes down to.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well, I hope that we see a really tight, close game that's very exciting and has a lot of really cool plays. I'm excited to see you guys play, and I hope that at the end the Tyranids win. So it's my unbiased opinion.
As normal people do. So let's go.
And I'm rooting for the Orcs. Let's go. So we can do the roll-off just on the screen. I'm going to go over to the TTS. So here we are. Both players have already deployed. By the way, hi chat. Nice to see you guys there. And tell us who you want to see win the game. And why don't we... now everyone should... Yeah. You should roll off maybe now on the dice tray here. Kayu, can you take a red dice, please?
Sure.
Just so we differentiate.
I should take blue or green.
You should be blue, yeah, just for visibility.
Okay, I'm red and he's blue. All right, let's go.
Let's go. Okay.
So that's first turn for the Tyranids. Now deciding, good game and good luck to you, both of you.
Game, Andy, and by the way, you are, my favorite to win the tournament just for simple sympathy for your list. So,
okay. Thanks for that. Kayu, have a very good game.
Okay.
And thanks, Trevy. Thanks, Fred, for the interview.
Yeah, good luck, guys.
Thank you,
Have
guys.
a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to turn... Yep. So I turn off the players for me now. Oh, see, Trevy, there's already the first mistake I made when introducing the list. He didn't choose the more damage on the on his war boss, but he shows the redeploy Warlord Rage, which
he's cunning but brutal. He's not brutal but cunning.
Which actually I really like this one. It's more strategic. You can do stuff normal orcs wouldn't be able to do. And what did he roll? Did he roll just a one? How many can he redeploy? I didn't. He rolled.
Looks like he rolled a 3.
Okay. Yeah, I will be maybe switching back and forth a bit between putting the players on the stream and not. I haven't really decided what's best yet. I think you are also fine with just hearing the players in the background for yourself, right? And we can.
I can. Yeah. I am.
Yeah.
I am good to go.
Hey. Maybe we go a bit over the deployment, or maybe we start with the secondaries, which both of them have chosen. The orc player has chosen engage on fronts, thin their ranks, and bring it down. I think it's pretty obvious that both players don't choose the usual, what's it called, scramblers and where we stand we fight. It doesn't really suit, I think, the orc army, especially in this matchup and with this deployment zone. He says with bring it down and send the ranks definitely. I'm gonna kill the Tyranids. I'm gonna kill a lot of stuff, and I think that's what we're gonna see. And I believe Andy when he says in most of his matches, usually there are more orcs on the table than there's non-orcs.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in this matchup. Not only do you get it off of the Hormigaunt units and the Gene Stealers, but also each of the Dimacrons is going to be 1 point for thin their ranks in addition to those bring it down points. The Bring It Down is a bit of an interesting pick, though. There are only 3 monsters on the table for the Tyranids, so he can only potentially score 6 points.
It's only there are 18 wounds, but still they are in the two point range, right?
Yeah, it's 20 wounds, I think, is the cutoff to get the additional point for
So
them.
I will be scrolling around to show the deployment limit. So we have the Swarm Lord and 2D background. That's all. Just 6 points. I think that's fair. I think people sometimes try too hard to get a secondary, which they could score a lot of points, but then in the end they don't do it.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's probably there's a good reason for not taking Raise the Banners. That's sort of the audible on Retrieval Mission, given that you have 3 objectives almost in your deployment zone, and you can reach those immediately. But like we talked about, the ridiculous mobility on this Tyranid army means that the Hormagaunts are just going to burn those banners down on everyone that's not the one in your back table edge. That said, it seems unlikely to me that back table edge one is going to have that banner broken. So you're probably good for, I don't know, 5 to 8 points at a minimum for a pick like Raise the Banners. It just may not fit into the game's plan that the Orcs want to play. They want to play maybe a little bit more of a cagey game plan and not try to defend those banners. But I do think that it is a little optimistic to take that, Bring It Down, and, and knock 9 points off your potential score and just say go, especially since, well, I think he's going to kill the Dimacarons. Swarmlord typically survives. He doesn't really commit until, round 4 or 5. And at that point, a lot of times the Hive Guard have killed most of the threats to him.
I think the Drexers are quite a valuable target, like an option to kill the Swarm Lord. So I think it's going to be hard for Kayu to hide in the end. But it really depends now what Kayu is going to choose as a strategy. He's going first, so I think he's going to determine, or like he's going to, what's the right word? Whatever he does is going to determine how the game's going to progress and how fast things are going to start dying here.
Yeah, he's going to dictate the pace for sure.
Do you want to go over his secondaries, maybe?
Yeah, so Kayu, aka Fennec, here is saying, while we stand, we fight, raise the banners high, and minimize losses. These are some interesting picks. Not typical for Tyranid armies, but in this particular matchup, it makes a ton of sense. While we stand, we fight, hitting, I believe, the large Hive Guard unit, the Gene Stealer unit, and the Swarm Lord. I think it's unlikely that the large Hive Guard unit gets killed. It might get engaged over the course of the game by stuff teleporting to the back line or just punching through the front line of this Tyranid army. But I don't think that there's the possibility that Orcs get enough firepower in the back to actually wipe that unit. And the Swarm Lord, like we talked about, he himself is relatively resilient, and he is you could just hide him in the back and commit him later, like way later in the game when you need to. So I think it's unlikely that he gets killed as well. So you're probably looking at 10 points there for While We Stand. And an awkward position, if you have a Gene Stealer unit in your army, is that unit usually takes up one of your While We Stand slots, and they are not hard to kill. So you often lose the 5 points for the Gene Stealers. But as long as you sort of recognize that going in, and you do force your opponent to dictate attacks to divert attacks to kill them in order to deny you those points, I think that's pretty fair. Raise the Banners High, a really easy pick for Retrieval Mission. Like we said, you have 3 objectives basically in your deployment zone. We got 1 billion infantry units that can drop those banner actions down, and we can set up the three banners, no problem. I think most interesting pick is minimize losses on the Tyranid side. Oftentimes, something that happens is you end up playing sort of aggressive secondaries like Deploy Scramblers and Engage on all fronts as Tyranids. And to do so, you take a lot of your little garbage units, your Rippers and your Lictors and your Gallants, and you send them forward aggressively to fight. And in minimize losses, that just slowly bleeds you points over the course of the game. But taking that While We Stand and that Raise the Banners High means that Kayu has audibled into playing an extremely defensive game, which is very appropriate for a Retrieval Mission. And he is not incentivized to play aggressively with those units at all. It looks like we're setting up here potentially to have the Lictors perform at least a couple banner actions, hide in the back there, and not give up those points easily. And while the Orc shooting is very impressive on their side of the table, it's not infantry. It's not super infantry clearing. It's not a super high volume. So the Hormagaunts, without those boys units getting stuck in, the Hormagaunts are probably going to survive at least a couple rounds.
The two gun wagons, they actually have 2d6 shots with blast, but I'm not sure they clear the whole unit. They probably won't, and if Kayu just leaves one Hormagaunt on the objective, that's fine, and he's gonna score it.
Yep.
I'm actually really surprised that Kayu took really these defensive secondaries with minimized losses. I tried to count now. I think he has only 9 models units, so that would mean he can. Maybe I forgot some reserve. No, I think he can only lose about 4 units to not be underneath 5 points. I don't know yet how he's gonna play it.
I think I'm seeing 12.
Maybe I'm miscounting.
Yeah, it's the 2 Hormagaunts, the 2 Hive Guard, the Gene Stealers, the 2 Lictors for 7, the 2 Dimacarons for 9, Rippers for 10, Swarmlord Neurothrope for 12.
Oh, okay, I guess I didn't see all these small characters. So that means with he needs to be.
So let's just keep going and going.
Yeah. That's why I like the turrets so much. You have so much shove and so small little things, and really the stratagems are also, I think, very helpful. Even in just preventing a certain secondary. You were talking about raise their banners for the orcs, and the reason of not taking is just because the turrets have the option to deny that or just take it away with these very quick infantry units. But obviously, Kayu didn't even choose raise the banner. No, the orc didn't choose it, but Kayu doesn't need to go aggressive now and deny it. It was just the option that helped him change the strategy for the orcs.
Yeah, absolutely. And it definitely, I think while it gave them more reliable secondaries, especially in that Bring It Down, like I don't think there's a universe in which orcs don't at least score 4 points on Bring It Down. But that being the case, it also means that the ceiling of their score is much lower, given that you can only score the 6.
I feel like Kayu is also with this secondary doing what Andy was saying in the interview, just play very defensively and let the opponent come, because he has huge respect for all the orc shooting, which I think he should have. When I looked at his games from the playoffs, in the lower playoffs, he was just going first turn, Demacaron, double move, attack something behind a ruin, kill it, overrun. It's so fun to watch. Yeah, but it's also somehow painful. It's like the tiny little troop master with throwing spite warlord trait, but as a giant monster with 18 wounds.
Yeah, it's a big monster who like eating titans for breakfast. You know, that guy's in there blowing up transports and killing your characters and stuff, and this Dimacaron's like killing 600 points worth of artillery. Yeah, it's and especially in High Fleet Kraken as well. Just like that dude threats like 50 inches. You can't stop it. You just have to screen it out. And if you haven't seen it before and you're not prepared for that, like the High Fleet Kraken Dimacaron, you're gonna have a bad time. That guy's gonna get you.
I think that's definitely what happened, at least in one game, where the opponent just doesn't know what's happening. And you don't expect that to be that fast. What I think is sometimes the weakness of this aggressive approach with the Demacaron, that you're basically relying on the onslaught to go off, right? Because you don't have automatic advantage charge, or is it? Oh no, he's playing the Kraken, so he always has it, right?
No, Kraken just buffs your advances. It
just doubles the charge move.
You just
advanced
normally
move is doubled. Then you'll get quicker, but you're not.
Yeah. So the high fleet adaptation for Kraken is you roll 3d6 when you advance and you pick the highest. So normally they advance 6 inches, and then the stratagem doubles the number that they move. But they don't innately advance in charge. So normally you see it with mostly Gene Stealers, and Gene Stealers do innately advance in charge. So they synergize really well. But otherwise, you do have to get that. That onslaught off. A lot of times we see a second Neurothrope in the Kraken detachment, and some oftentimes that's where the Resonance Barb goes. You put Catalyst on that guy, and then you can spend a CP for Synaptic Channeling, I think is the name stratagem, to donate onslaught to that guy, and that's the most reliable cast that Tyranids have. It's +1 to cast with reroll once. So you specifically have to roll double 2s in order to force a CP reroll to get that off. It's super duper reliable to get the onslaught as long as your opponent doesn't have denies. And you move so quickly, a lot of times you can just cast from outside the deny range and just leave that dude back and then Hive Commander him into range. But we only have the one Neurothrope in the Chronos detachment today, so not a lot of backup for the casters here. But it looks like we're going to be playing defensively this game, which I think is absolutely the correct play. And you probably won't need that onslaught for most of the game.
Yeah, that's a good tech. I guess Kayu didn't choose to take it. Maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he plays it. He was planning to play defensively at some point. Yeah, just last week we had on Friday we had a game with the Harridan against the Sisters, and the Harridan was very aggressive. He killed a lot of Sisters and including Retributors with multi-melters and Rhinos. But there was just one Retributor left with 2 Sheriffs, and he killed the whole fucking Harridan. This was so amazing.
Yeah, no big
and it shows you that I think Tyranids are very strong codex now with the addition of the Forge Word stuff. And I think they always have been like a codex with very strong stratagems because they're all movement based. But I still, and in this game, I felt a little bit, okay, yeah, you can see the tier gap between these different codexes. But what's your thought on that?
Wolf pointing out in the chat appropriately, one thing that we missed going over Kayu's list is that he did actually include 60 reinforcement points for a potential spore field on the top of 1 if he needs it, or during deployment, which allows him to spend 3 CP. I think it's very expensive, but also then use those reinforcement points to bring in a unit of spore mines that gets to forward deploy. That's I think the only access the Tyranids have to forward deploy abilities, but it is good in some matchups, especially against like Raven God or something that's going to be trying to use redeployment or concealed position style deployment abilities to take the center of the table. You can screen a lot of those out. It's nice it's 60 points and 3 CP is a ton, and especially since there's no other way to use those CP or those 60 points if you don't use the stratagem, so you're just playing points down, which is a tough pill to swallow. But if that's your worst matchup and you really need it to, then you can use that. That said, spore mines do not count for victory conditions, so they shouldn't score your opponent. I don't believe that they will count towards your total for secondaries for minimized losses. But I'm not that I don't know off the top of my head because minimized losses.
Yeah, I think I would agree that they don't count at all. As far as I remember, the rule says don't count for anything, and then yes, you could start really go into the wording and see. It only says for killing. But I don't think the 9th edition rules are written like this, because there's so many different rules are basically a bit different, but then there are other rules say if you have a similar rule like this, it should be counted in this way. So I'm pretty sure it's not good, but I think it's not going to be a big issue here. And also, I don't want to spend too much time on these rules discussions.
It does. Yeah. Looks like we've begun shooting. Started to kill some Gretchen. The orcs were placed very defensively and didn't have very much in range of those Hive Guard. The big downside of Hive Guard is they are an incredibly powerful indirect fire piece, but they only shoot 36 inches. So a lot of times, if you don't have absolutely optimal terrain placement, so you can hide them in like a really aggressive position, a lot of times they don't actually really do much on turn 1. That said, we do have some defensive placement from Kayu. It doesn't look like, outside of teleporting stuff, any of his units will be in range of anything outside the cannon wagons, and besides some Hormagaunts that he's just fine with losing. And that means that these shorter ranged orc units are going to probably have to wander into threat range of those Hive Guard in order to get work done.
By the way, just as a notice for the viewers and also for you, I think, Trevy, you haven't played on these ruins. These ruins are basically have different states, so you can make them smaller, and people do that because it's easier to play. But they are bigger. So this one is actually a very tall ruin.
Surprise! Big sneaky ruin. Yeah, that's good, especially if I think miniatures usually have auto raise enabled as standard, right? on your TTS models, and that means that they are going to pop to those top levels if you don't have those states disabled, which makes it very difficult to place around. It takes a lot of time usually.
Yeah, I would also just go without any levels if we didn't have these runes. I was so happy. One of our TO group was able to make them in Blender, and we have been using them since. And I don't want to ever go back to runes with colliders or without states.
Yeah, they're miserable. I agree. I tend to play without multi-level terrain just for that reason. It tends to bog down a lot of gameplay, and it doesn't often come up. But if the stated ruins is a good workaround in TTS, make that a little bit more playable.
I think the first one's already over from Kayu, so he only he doesn't have anything to score yet, as we can see.
Knocked a Gretchen unit out though.
Hit some Gretchen and put 3 banners down.
Yeah, I think a turn to be expected from the Tyranids. You cannot commit into this like incredibly powerful short range shooting on the orc side. Anything that you send in there just gets blown up immediately. So you have to force the orcs to come to you. Fortunately, you do have 10 hive guard, so you wildly out threat everything on the orc side of the table besides the cannon wagons. So the impetus is definitely on the orcs to come forward, and so just forcing that to be the case is very important on the Tyranid side. So I think a very heads-up play from Kayu, playing very conservatively, and just even knocking out those Gretchens just got to be annoying. You no longer have a unit that you could just throw away onto that objective and make sure that your opponent doesn't get hold more. You have to put something more valuable potentially in threat range in order to do that. And outside of a jump, these orc boys are in an awkward position. If we don't see that jump this turn, they have a couple models in the crater in the center of the table, which means they're going to be slower, and they're really strung out. So one thing that Kayu could potentially elect to do is commit his Gene Stealers early and just engage one half of the formation. And in doing so, the rest of the orc unit can't attack you. So even if you don't wipe it, you don't get hit back in the swing back.
One important thing to note is also that Warpers on Bike changed a lot from his, I don't know where his rules were before, but in the Forge World edition now, he only gives advance on charge to bikes and vehicles, which of course is nice for some scrapjets as they're very good in combat, but these boys are basically just only moving 5 inches and then charging.
Really relying on that to jump to get them in.
I was thinking a bit that maybe this defensive position wasn't very necessary for Andy, because Kayu already shows these very defensive secondaries himself, and they of course know both of their secondaries before they deploy. But I guess that's how Andy plays, and he has been very successful with it. And I'm looking forward to see what he's going to do now in his first turn.
Now, is there anything in this truck?
I think it's empty.
On the top right here. Yeah, it looks empty. I don't see any other units set aside. Besides, there's like 100 orc boys in the back. I don't know what they're doing. But I guess they're just the cheerleaders. They're for moral support over on Andy's side of the table.
On the board?
Yes.
Okay.
On the back of his table edge.
Looks like he loaded some.
They're rooting on their boys, you know. Maybe they're in the truck. It's like a clown car of orcs.
Okay. First Traxxas jumping around. I think we can
the whirly gig to automatically teleport. Boop.
To be honest, these it could come true that more than one Demarcaran dies in the first turn. It's not likely, but he has clear shooting at one of the Demarcaran with at least one gun dragon. I'm trying to see if the other one can see it as well. No, I don't think so. But it
would be tough. You may be able to move because the Dimacarons are so big. You can see them through the low ruins. The big ruins are still opaque, so they're easy to see through. So maybe there's a position on the corner, like around where the pink Gretchen are, where you can see through the windows of everything and get them.
That's actually a big
But,
advantage
yeah, we'd have
for
to
the
see how
Democrats that no one really knows how to play against 18 wound models yet. Because they just see
Sure.
it and they think, oh, I cannot see
definitely,
it. But sometimes.
I played against Mortarion on stream the other day, and I moved out of a building to shoot him, and my chat yelled at me.
Yeah,
What a dummy.
rightly so.
Yeah, and importantly, it's the same for aircraft too, chat. Aircraft, regardless of the number of wounds they have, they can always be seen through obscuring terrain. So if you play against those AdMech planes, those big fire raptors I've seen some play, just shoot them through buildings. It's fine.
Let's see what the chat says. Not much going on there yet. I think they all want to see some action. Some people are rooting for Kayu.
Do you think we see a jump off these orc boys, or do you think we're gonna hold for a bit? Keep them, have them continue to protect
I think
the
it
guns.
depends on what Andy thinks he can accomplish in his first turn, whether he can put some pressure on by start killing these Gorns. Maybe he gets a good angle with the other Dragstars onto this Demacaron. Because in this case, he might want to keep the screen on. What I like to see actually is the jump just for repositioning. Maybe you should, like, even if you have Evil Suns and you have an 8-inch revolvable charge, you shouldn't really go jumping for the charge, but you should more jump for the position. And I think that's also what Andy probably is going to do. At least in later turns, he can jump somewhere, and then he has good angle there. But for that, also he, of course, has to clear the screens.
Right. Now, one thing that I think it's important that we keep in mind is the raise the banners pick on Kayu's side of the table. The earlier you can break banners, it's a sort of a big exponential decrease in the number of points you get, because not only can you lose the points that the next turn for that banner being active, but you also cannot then replace the banner that subsequent turn, because it's there's going to be enemy units on that objective. So I don't know if it's entirely the correct play, but we do need probably to get something over to this top right objective and try to break that banner, because there's nothing really on that side of the table that threatens the orc boys. And if you start cleaning out the Tyranids on that flank, you can start pushing towards the large Hive Guard unit in the center. And you do eventually have to force the Gene Stealers to commit into the orc boys. The rest of the Tyranid army doesn't really reliably kill them, so you need to tap them with something and then hit them with the Gene Stealers to wipe the unit before it green tides. And at least forcing that interaction to happen earlier rather than later may be in Andy's favor. It certainly requires that the Dimacarons commit and do something to protect the Hive Guard, which may open them up to get shot.
I really like the screening here down from Kayu, actually. He's even using the Swarm Lord to screen his right flank. Do you miss like a Melantrove or some what's called Venom Troves in this list?
Not really. There's a little bit of an awkwardness taking those in Tyranid armies, because you're so incentivized to take a Kronos detachment. But the rest of your army, outside of the Hive Guard and Exocrines and stuff, really sucks at being Hive Fleet Kronos. And unfortunately, all of the negative hit auras are Hive Fleet keyworded. So a Venom Thrope from Kronos, for example, cannot protect the Kraken units. So if you split your list between the two Hive Fleets like this, they become way less efficient. So while it would be nice, it's not usually like super necessary, and it doesn't protect everything. So a lot of times it's not even worth it. And especially if you can source dense cover somewhere, they don't stack. So that's probably where the Hive Guard are going anyway.
This is just a very very slow standoff here. It's like
This is a classic retrieval mission game. We're gonna position and set up for a big turn where you can push directly into your opponent's the objectives on your opponent's side. I think I really like retrieval mission because it's tactically very interesting. It's just not a lot of action on turn one typically.
I feel like the game can be won on the secondaries. My feeling right now is that Kayu has a heads up, because with the defensive secondaries he doesn't need to commit, and I feel some pressure on Andy to do something. Andy is just positioning his scrap jets, slowly on the right side. He has the big shooters on them.
Yeah.
This is 12 shots, which is very useful against the Homer guns. He has the big gun wagon. I'm actually not sure what he's gonna shoot. He can just he can just shoot over through the whole table at the Demarcaron because this gun has 60 inches. Ah, amazing.
Yeah, that guy's wide open. One thing that we should keep in mind though is that Andy does have the bottom of the turn,
Like the last turn for scoring. Yes.
round 5 scoring.
That's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's going second. One thing that I don't think he can afford to do right now, though, is leave this objective open. So killing those 10 Gretchen, it doesn't feel like it's a big swing. You're like, all right, I'll ask the 50-point troops choice, like whatever. But that means that there's no like throwaway unit that can just go right onto this objective easily. I would really like to see it to jump on these Orc boys just to tow one dude onto that objective, and ensure that we don't give the Tyranids a 15-point turn. I think, honestly, if this game becomes very standoffish, giving the Tyranids a 15-point turn early may actually end up sinking it in the long run for them, because they can very reliably score 10 points every other turn to get their maximum 45.
And there would even be an option to bring Andy down to a 5-point turn. Right now, there's the jump. You can see it at the bottom right now, guys.
All right.
So it's 8.
Boom.
Where's the weird boy? So no, this is fine.
Center of the unit.
So the Orc weird boys, they always get +1 to cast for every 10 Orc models in 10 inches. And it's capped at +3, which is actually nice, because before that they would always blow up their head. Now it's only occasionally happens, and because you can roll 12 and above with the weird boy and then get a pair of warp. Now he's just fine, however he wants to. That's always the best one.
Okay, so it looks like we are going for the aggressive to jump here, though. Jumping all the way to the right-hand side of the table. Going to go for that long charge in the Hormigons to try to clear that banner off. Although I think an open question, do you even shoot these Hormigons when you come in? Because it may be that Kayu just pulls that the 1 or 2 in the front, and then that charge is unpassable, and you don't lose the banner. You lose the objective, which you would anyway, but you retain the banner because the Orcs have never held the objective.
Well, he can still charge the Swarm Lord. I think he can get into the 9-inch there.
Oh, yeah, he could put a guy within 9 inches.
So the question would be, does he expect to do some decent damage on the Gaunts, or does it not matter? Because if he only kills 5 Gaunts, I think I would rather go for the charge. But if I kill like 20,
I mean, they're gonna
just kill 20.
Yeah. They're gonna kill the Gaunt unit if they make that charge anyway. So you might as well just hold the shooting. Maybe shoot the Dimacaron, try to ping a couple wounds off of it. Strength 4 shooting is like kind of where you want to be against the Dimacaron, because high AP stuff knocks up against their invulnerable save, and Strength 4 doesn't win on it just wins on 5. So you're just fishing for 5s, and other than that, they're just like a normal.
Yeah, these ones have only toughness 7. Also very popular right now are the what's it called? Hierodules with toughness 8 and very strong strength. Is it also strength 7 or strength 6 flamers?
It's a strength 6 flamer on the back. 3d6 auto hits at AP2, if I remember correctly.
Very mean, but they're only I don't know, a quarter as fast as the Macrons.
Well, the melee one, the Scythe Hierodules are actually the same speed as a Dimacaron. They're both move 12, but
they respect runes.
They don't go through walls. And also, they have a huge base. Their base is enormous. Sometimes they just don't fit places. Unlike this Dimacaron, which just squeezes itself through whatever. It's like Dimacarons are like octopi. You know, they don't have a skeleton. They just fit through windows and stuff.
They're jellyfish.
Jellyfish. That's where all the little tentacles in the belly go. I see how it is. It all makes sense.
Wow, this is still a very defensive charge. Or that jump, but I think I like it, because he can basically, if he makes the charge, create a giant wall of boys, which Kayu has no way of going through. I don't know. It's still always very dependent on whether the charge the charge works or not. I kind of don't like this about Orcs right now with the jump. It's very unreliable, and you always have to plan two completely different scenarios.
Right.
At least they get +3 to that cast, so that jump is reliable. Now we see, because it's a mixed squad, we see the close combat guys, the chopper boys in the front, and the shooter boys in the back. I'm actually not sure if this is going to make a big difference.
Could we check on some coherency here for this unit? I mean, this feels a little bit loosey-goosey. Yeah. There's a couple of models that are really far out. There's a guy in the back here that's only got one buddy, it looks like.
Yeah, just wait.
Not that they
I think
can't
it's
get into
just
coherency. It's
just
pretty easy.
leave them be.
I guess if they make their charges, they're just gonna reposition anyway.
Did you catch what shooting is that now?
Looks like the cannon wagon is lining up on the Hormigant unit. That's on the objective on the bottom right here.
Okay.
Getting the maximum shots. We were able to draw line of sight to a couple of their tails through a window. So getting a big cannon hit here.
Okay. I'm gonna put the players on the stream a little bit, so we can hear them at least in the background, like this. Yeah.
Big hit for 7. And I don't think that this unit is in Synapse either, so they're gonna be susceptible to morale. This is the only Synapse on the table for the Kraken attachment is the Swarm Lord himself.
I think it should through some windows here, but
Like which
maybe
one?
you
The
can
very,
check.
on the very back, the Demarcation.
Yeah. Because now.
Yeah, like I think on your cannon on the very top can see it.
Yeah.
more.
Oh, it was the gun wagon in the top left shot. Okay. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Okay, yeah. So they were just checking whether the gun wagon in the top bottom left
6
can shoot
reds
Jim McCone, and
hitting on
they both agree
4s,
it can.
and 6 blues hitting on 5s.
So that's all big shooter, right?
Yes, all big shooter. The rest can shoot.
And now comes the 12 shots.
Right.
Big
hitting on
shooters.
4s, so that's a red reroll.
Interesting profile on the scrap chat. It has
Out.
2 twin big shooters, so it shoots a
One reroll.
grand total of 12 times, and one of them gets
3
+1
minus
hit,
1.
thanks to
Minus
the
nothing.
Grat Gunner.
Minus nothing. So
Kind of annoying to actually resolve this unit because it makes so
Yes.
many individual attacks.
I had long discussions with my fellow orc player about
Okay,
whether
I
to
have
even
another-
play the scrap chat in a clock game because it takes too much time.
Script chat's going to do this.
You have to
Especially
take this into account
yeah,
as well.
It's on 4.
With Death Skulls in there as well, and then you're docking.
Yes.
Red
Basically
reroll,
rolling 6 times just to
Red
get one
Darker.
thing resolved.
Red darker.
It's the classic orc
Okay.
experience, though. You're just
Another
like pulling the
darker,
lever on the slot
Blue
machine,
darker.
Yeah.
hoping you get some good damage through.
That's
Guys
not
in
a
the chat,
hit.
maybe give some
That is
feedback
it.
whether
That
you
is it.
want
It's
to hear
not a
the
hit.
players or not. I would
And that's-
try putting
I
on
killed the
when we
red
have
one, so I'll
the
take
shooting
the blue
phase.
one.
It's 9 wounds on the gaunts.
1 reroll.
Oh no,
4.
hits. No, it's 5 wounds.
6 up. Nothing. 4.
Okay.
3 and
Doing some good damage to these Hormigants.
There's still 10 there.
Doesn't look like
11. That's
we're
a
going to
good
have
number.
enough firepower to wipe the unit, but they will be
Okay,
potentially
so
knocked out to morale.
That gives me 12 shots
who's shooting? Sorry.
with the.
Do you think
cannon
it's a
wagon.
mistake by Kayu, or does he just say, okay, at least one will survive and that's
Check.
enough for
No,
me?
I'm not seeing. Right. Took off. Okay. Which
And it looks like
means,
he went to go shoot
he's
the cannon
going
wagon,
to
or Andy went to go shoot the
shoot
cannon wagon at that unit as well, but had
the
pulled it
Demarcation.
out of range with the slugger shots.
7 shots.
Mhm.
So I think we're just going to the Dimacaron.
Yes. Let's see. Okay, hitting on
Reroll.
4s, having one reroll from Deska.
There it goes.
So it's 4 hits.
Verts.
4 hits.
Big
Please.
three saloon. Ooh!
2.
But yeah, 2 rerolls. That was very
Minus 2.
important. Just get the rerolls.
One save, so only 3 damage through.
Good damage.
Yep.
So feel the pain.
And this one's catalysted.
Takes 2.
All right.
Okay.
Well, we didn't expect it to die. So
Yeah.
that's okay.
All right. The
Yes, I always
scrap
forget that
jet
the gun wagon also has
dragster
some big
here.
shooters, right? Doesn't
going
it?
think
to
you have
shoot
to buy
the
them.
front Demarcation.
Ah, he didn't buy it.
The,
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, the yellow one here. Okay, yeah. Okay.
So that's 2 shots with the shock, I think. It's 2 hits.
Yeah, it can have up to
And
3.
the
So you have to
reroll.
buy them independently, it looks like.
The Fortwood updates are very
Six
weird.
damage.
Sometimes the upgrades don't cost anything anymore. So
6.
things get stuff for free.
It doesn't have feel,
Mhm.
okay.
I thought this might apply to this one as well.
Not
Yeah,
that
the entry
one.
I'm looking at doesn't have
the missile.
Oh, okay.
Hit
a points
reroll
value on
remaining,
it, so I don't
move
know.
reroll
It might be free. We
Okay.
might have just not taken.
Hits.
Not that they were in range anyway. I don't think there was any
Increase,
legal target for them.
yes, -2.
This turn.
Oh,
Three
where are we
damage.
now? Shit. People always shout at me for not
Okay.
following the game enough. So
too
we had
bad.
shooting the
He's gonna
Dragster
have
at
some
a
boys to eat
different
if he wants them.
Demacaron, which is now down to 9.
Okay,
Really?
Boom.
gonna spend this
Holy
Yeah,
GP.
I said that shock rifle for you. The big D6 with a reroll.
Put
Pretty
him
good.
And he's going to spend a CP to just jump back, which you can do with
here.
just any of these shock jump dragsters. There's a setup where you can also do it with
Yep.
a second
Good.
unit with the treasure jump from Evil Sons, but then you lose out on all the juicy rerolls from
Boys could
Beskar.
shoot
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, and it looks like one interesting thing to keep in mind about this
So
Tyranid
this
army is that
guy's,
there's no direct fire shooting. It's all indirect,
Corner
which means that outside of
Yeah, you can
range, your
shoot.
positioning on the table actually almost literally doesn't matter.
Shoot.
So you
He's
can
got
see like
the
the Shrek
two
Dragons
guys
is
can
just
shoot.
jammed into this building, right? So like things could draw line of sight through it. It's not being obscured,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that does not matter because
So
there's a hybrid.
4
don't care.
shots. I don't
Um,
put any shots into the other
I think one of the
units.
reasons
Oh,
that we
wait,
see a
I
lot of
could
times
shoot
with
the
Tyranid's
Demacaron.
lists bringing a combination of
There's only-
Hiveguard and Exocrines is that so your opponent does
Uh,
actually have to worry about that big
Maybe
direct
3
fire
guys.
gun.
No,
So
two-
they have to be out of range of the Hiveguard and out of line of
Hey.
sight of the Exocrine. It really makes their
2
decision
shots
awkward.
into Demacaron.
They also want to then take advantage of cover, and their whole positional game
Daka.
changes. But without
Oh, nice.
without any direct fire shooting on the table,
Killing
as soon
that
as your
thing.
opponent's in range, you're like, whatever. Just put this guy in the building.
no.
Who cares?
I'm gonna take a reroll.
So playing these new Tyranids a bit
Oh,
like playing
okay.
Harlequins, who also don't care
And
about the
4
table,
shots
basically.
into the
Exactly.
Homagons.
Yeah, Harlequins 2.0 we call
Reroll
them.
still remaining. Taking it. Oh, nothing. Okay,
So it looks like trying to pick off a couple of the other Hormagons.
that's
I
shooting.
think that was with the
done.
truck.
So end of
No, the
shooting
truck
phase
can
now.
shoot. He's gonna shoot the
Some shooting from the truck left.
Oh, here comes the truck.
Demacaron. Hitting on 6s because he advanced. It's 1 hit, 1 reroll, 1 Daka, 1 hit. 3 5s.
So chat asking whether Fortwood needs a
We're going for
FAQ.
charges.
No, basically I was just wondering
The boys into
which
the
units have the
Hormagons.
free upgrades now, because it tends to go unnoticed. Because
Magic
GW
number
doesn't really
nine.
highlight the changes in the book.
That's not a
Okay,
good
by
roll.
the way, there's the charge roll.
Ooh,
So
that was a
one
double
with-
ones on that charge.
Getting a
Reroll's
9.
good though.
There's a 9.
Okay.
Here we come. Goodbye, banner.
How do you do
I
this?
think this is huge. That's quite big.
Yeah. Yeah. What interestingly, there's a non-zero chance that Tyranids actually end controlling this objective. Not that it really matters because the orcs have 3 of their own, so you couldn't get to 15 points with the Tyranids holding it. But because the orcs are about to take it into charge phase, they'll break the banner at the end of the charge
replace
phase.
this guy here. Right, I put-
Okay, go ahead.
I'll put him right where this guy is. And then
If you had put
go-
more
I know,
boys
I know,
on
later.
wait, from this angle, it's like the bottom of the table.
those
You could
guys will
even
go
try to
fighting.
deny the other one. But he didn't know how much gaunts you're gonna kill or
He'll
not.
probably go
Yeah.
somewhere here. I'll just put down the red.
Yeah, and you don't want to just like give your opponent an easy charge with the Gene Stealers. Like at least make the Swarm Lord Metabolic Overdrive to the other side of the table to get those Gene Stealers in range.
So this guy's going to.
You just
here.
send your stuff to every objective. And those are also shoot-up boys. Like there's a non-zero chance they just don't even kill enough Hormagons to take the objective over there, and it's just awkward.
Yeah.
But this should clean most of this Hormagon unit out. They are in Synapse, so if they don't get wiped, they're going to remain on the table, which is going to be good for
And then it's
Tyranids.
about spacing. Maybe one guy can fight.
But this
forward.
does mean that, like
so
I was
we
mentioning
said this
before,
guy
I mean,
goes
we're in a
here.
position where you now have to deal with this Orc unit. Otherwise, they're going to take all your objectives and break all your banners for the entirety of the game. Not that this Tyranid army can't. The Gene Stealers themselves kill a ridiculous number of Orc boys once they get stuck in. but you do need to break up the unit beforehand with something. So
he needs to.
One of the benefits of this is that it might actually pull fire
He can't find.
off of the big guns, to deal with these boys.
Yeah.
You don't really you want to be able to tag them with a hive guard unit a couple times to ensure that you can kill them, because worst case scenario is like you leave one idiot alive and then he just green tides the entire unit back and you're back to square one.
So the 20 don't kill them in one go. I mean, they have 80 attacks. Could not be enough because 30 boys is a lot and toughness 4 matters, right? Yeah.
Yeah, on average, it doesn't quite wipe the unit. You kill like 25 or something, and then so you need to ensure that it happens. And you can't really do it in melee because of this strung formation. Well, it means that the boys aren't very good at fighting on multiple fronts themselves. Like if we charge a Dimacaron in and then also the Genestealer unit, whichever one fights first will knock a bunch of the other one out of fighting, with the casualties getting pulled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So I think you have to do it with smites and guns.
There you see another rune getting smaller. I really like Andy making sure his boys are in range of the war boss, because this way they just don't run away. And then you have the really force, as you said, you have to kill the whole boys, otherwise they come back as a whole squad. And he basically didn't achieve anything. From your experience in your league, is the change from the scoring in the last round very impactful or not?
Yeah, extremely so. It turns a lot of games that were close and would go to the first player just on virtue of the amount of table space they could take into either sort of very close to draws or wins for the second player. And in a lot of situations, and I think this being one of them, I don't know, whether first or second is better in this particular mission and this matchup. I think both of these players are highly mobile, so they want to go second in order to get the bottom of 5 scoring. But on the flip side, they also get to set up a very strong defensive castle going first. They get to take that position in the middle of the table. They can put all their stuff behind ruins and things. And I think that situation where you don't know which one is better for you and you have a good game plan first or second, that's exactly where the game needs to be. And I think that's what it's done.
I
think there's a little bit of work to do. Some of the missions, I think the first player is still a little bit advantaged, but retrieval mission not being one of those.
I feel like I always want to go second in my games, and I've seen lots of people from the WARPhammer Championship also play in a Greek Hammer tournament, which is a WTC style team event. And if you don't have like a army that's designed to go first, you just want to go second now because the end game scoring is very, very strong. And with this chart now taking away the banner, I'm not sure the Gorns will die because Andy placed his boys quite conservatively. I think he could have gotten more attacks in if he prepared it a bit better, but it's definitely gonna hurt. And I feel this getting a charge in with the boys is always a nice bonus. So currently I would give Andy a heads up. And I would put Andy on the screen.
4 attacks each, and the boss gets 2 extra.
Trevy, in case you're talking, I can't hear you.
Black based.
I'm not saying anything.
Oh, okay.
That would be why.
Because I see your fancy animation popping up.
Might just be picking up my mouse, I think.
So 36, 38 attacks.
The lists, guys. I'm gonna post the link. Oh, does the link work on YouTube again? Yeah. I posted the link to the lists and the general overview in the chat, guys, if you want to see the lists.
Okay.
So boys attacking.
1-0.
Almost 40 attacks.
3s.
Minus how much is this?
Nothing.
21 wounds.
So only 21 into a 6-up save, and there's more than 21 Hormagaunts there, so we should be fine. Now, what casualties do you pull here? I think you pull the.
Yep.
Do you pull them out of melee so that there's no chance of a wrap?
3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, I would.
Oh, we used a caustic blood. Adorable. Killed 3 orc boys in the swing back from the stratagem. It's a relatively seldom used Tyranid stratagem for 1 CP. You can deal a mortal wound back to something that kills your units on a 6-up. For each
Very
model
unlikely
that they
against to be used on boys, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you do it on like big hardy targets.
Yeah.
Like,
I think what he wants to do is just make this formation a bit less well positioned. But he had some extra guys.
You gotta clean out, probably 8 of these boys before the Gene Stealers go in to feel good about being able to one-shot them. And killing 3 of them means that we may not need to see that many ranged attacks go into them, because we do have a smite probably coming out of the Swarm Lord. We have maybe a tap from a Hive Guard unit and some other incidental shooting. And it looks like we may leave the Hormagaunts in the front.
Oh, I think
that
this is a
opens up for a
mistake.
try point? Yeah. Ooh.
There's a chance of tripoding, and this orc list is not really not relying much on CP, so you can really dump the CP into the orc boys. I think even fighting twice is an option here.
My time.
Mm-hmm.
I would check.
Yeah, I'm not sure you really need to. You're not super worried about killing Hormagaunts, but a wrap would be brutal. I think you can get maybe this is the boss knob in to pin this guy with the highlight on him over on the top side here.
And it's not going to save them from shooting, but it's going to steal Kayu 2 CP, and that's really worth it.
Although I think he's closest to the Hormagaun next to him, so it might be somebody else that needs to pile in to get the pin.
No, is he not doing it? Andy, why are you not doing it?
Yeah, you do your fighting.
Yeah, I think this guy, the guy who just moved an inch, could probably have done it. Oh, all right. Just let him go.
No, why?
Okay. All right, Hormagaunts. Let's see it.
I feel a lot of people have forgotten that this is a rule. Just because we have the desperate breakout stratagem doesn't mean you shouldn't grab things.
No, definitely do it. Make your opponent spend the CP. 2 CP is a lot just for the privilege of being able to shoot at that unit.
And this unit that does the desperate breakout cannot do anything at all. So it even helps slowing down the unit that fallbacks a little bit.
Well,
because Tyranids can still do stuff.
With the Hormagaun attacks. I think we probably need to pull this guy in the center that's on the crater. He might die to here. Yeah, we're going to pull that dude. And another guy. Okay, well, 6 orc boys dead so far. We're really putting a dent into the unit down to 24.
The Gons are fighting.
This one is base to base, right?
They're doing their best.
Because you put them back.
Oh yes, but I always forget that they are Hormagaunts, so they have 2 attacks and they're really quick. And they have 6-inch pylon, which is very useful in lots of cases.
So 3 gone.
Super good. In my Tyranid list, I play a whole custom Hive Fleet just to get that benefit, and Hormagaunts just do it all the time.
I will choose not to
you can choose
well.
that instead of Kraken and stuff.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's called Feeding Frenzy. It gives you a 6-inch pylon. The Hormagaunts also get a 6-inch consolidate.
Oh, they're not.
Pylon's a real big one. Means that a big unit of them can really easily jump on in, and even with the new engagement rules, can get their entire unit into melee if they need to. There's also it's not relevant, I think, in this case, but there's also a stratagem for +1 AP on those guys too, so they can actually start to threaten some of the scrap jets. They don't do a ton of damage, but toughness 6 is a little bit awkward though. So it looks like 2 Hormagaunts from the other unit going down to morale, but that unit's going to be fine hanging out over there. And we'll see how Kayu responds to this aggression on the orc side. I think if he's able to wipe this unit with the Gene Stealers and then put them in a defensive position with an overrun, maybe if he gets them with a Hive Commander into the center around where this crater is, he can kill a bunch of orc boys and then pull them back to the edges of this central L in the middle, and that will make them very difficult to be counterattacked. and put them in a very aggressive position to start attacking the orc objectives next turn, because these heavy anti-tank weapons on all these orc vehicles aren't super efficient at killing the Gene Stealers. The big shooters will get there eventually, but through Catalyst, maybe some cover saves, those guys are tough to kill once they get stuck in.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure even if this position for the orcs no perfect. With having lost 6 boys already, you only need to kill 24 anymore. And we were calculating that that's what the Gene Stealer can probably do.
Yeah, let's get some math hammer out here. Let's go. We got 80 attacks in that unit. We're hitting on 3s.
Yeah, since I always have the calculator next to me now. Just to do this all the time.
Sure. Yeah, it looks like we killed just over 25 models on average with that Gene Stealer unit. I think you sink 1 Hive Guard shot into them just to make sure you don't want to undershoot and lose the game because of it. I think Andy just realizing that he didn't pin that too. Oh no. Yeah. So the Hormagon's getting away, and now the Gene Stealer's probably going to come out and fight those guys.
I'm going to put it on stream.
You train.
No, as long as I get 10 points, I don't care.
Yeah, so 10 points.
Yeah, it's true.
10 points on the Tyrannid side, and I think
good to take one.
Depending on how this turn goes, I think Tyranids may be in a commanding position in this game.
I know.
Although the punch of the Orc army is still certainly still untouched and is going to be continue to be relatively untouched for the majority of the game. But this is going to put Tyranids in a position where they can play very aggressively forward and start taking those objectives on the Orc side.
I think the overrun move you just talked about is probably the strongest one now, because if Kayu just goes forward with everything, there's still so much shooting on the other side, and it's going to give Andy opportunity to start the killing game. I think Kayu wants to hold on as long as possible.
Yeah, I think part of the reason for this very aggressive move with the boys is that you want to start the peace trade, and you want to send these boys up and then get these Dimacrons to come fight them. Oh, which looks like what might be happening. I don't know if I like that. All right. And if you can start doing that, then this is a really good move. But if the Dimacrons just remain stationary, and you've just lost your Orc boys, and the Gene Stealers run away, and you haven't changed your target selection on the table at all, you just lose 30 Orc boys for the cost. You trade 30 Orc boys for 1 banner, which is not an easy trade. But we do see that Dimacron moving out, maybe trying to go into the boys. The Dimacrons have a pretty okay profile at killing through hordes of enemies, but they're not very efficient at it. They only have 7 attacks, including their tail attack. But if at the end of their swings they have any enemy models in melee with them, they can try to eat them with their spine maw, which has the potential to do d6 additional mortal wounds. But unfortunately, when you have a very spread formation like this, it's very easy for your opponent just to pull all of the models that are engaged with you, and then you don't get those spine maw attacks. So
that's also how they get the Phenopain, right? So they this one used to have Phenopain from the Catalyst, but they can always get Phenopain for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I think I would have liked Andy to move out a little bit further with the scrap charts. But I also don't know what Kayu is going to do. If he's really going in now. I think my favorite move would really be with the Gene Stealers, go for the boys, basically where the Dimacron is standing now, and then hide again behind the wall. Because
exactly.
Andy doesn't really have any answer to that. He has no outside of indirect shooting, no indirect shooting for him. And the indirect shooting he has, which is the Dragstars who can jump around, the corners are not really good at killing the Gene Stealers.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he wants to be shooting those at Dimacrons for sure.
Yeah, now I remembered the question I wanted to ask Andy and forgot in the interview. I'm really curious why he's not playing a Burner Bomber. I like to have him in the list just for the threat. And he often against many armies now can get his money back basically, because just even if he only kills 2 of the Hive Guard, makes some weird deployment, and maybe kills 6 of the Gene Stealer, he's worth it, I feel.
A question in chat about stringing to coherency. The only requirement for coherency, chat, is that you have each model has 2 buddies within 2 inches of them. So if we can see, all of the models in this daisy chain have 1 guy on each side of them, which means that they're going to be. I'm indicating with my mouse.
Yeah, I'm changing the screen right as you're talking.
Yes. So each guy in the center of the chain has 1 guy on each side, and then if we look at the ends of the chain, the guys on this left-hand objective marker have two dudes in a little triangle here, so that maintains coherency for them. And then on the other side, there's a big bundle of boys that are all going to be on coherency with each other.
Yep. It basically means.
So you can chain out like this in 9th edition. You just need to give your dudes some friends on each end. You make a big sort of a chain shot looking formation.
The thing that you always have to consider is that this position is a risky position, because as soon as too many models die, and for this position, actually, if 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think 5 boys die here, the line will be like broken, because then it's only these 2 here, and if then one more dies, then this one doesn't have 2, this one doesn't have 2, this doesn't have 2, and this whole line goes down to 5 models. But Andy doesn't care.
Yeah,
Andy wants to take damage.
It's a domino.
Yes, exactly.
A domino fall. Yeah. Yeah, and the goal of the Tyranids is to kill this unit this turn. If they leave 1 dude alive to where coherency gets awkward, it doesn't matter. That guy's just going to green tide next turn. And he has. He's positioned the Warboss and Warbike with these dudes in the center. So as long as those guys survive, at least as long as there's 1 dude over there, he can break heads on that guy and they won't run to morale.
Exactly. So basically what the perfect position for Andy would be, Kayu puts a bunch of resources into these boys, and then he is left with just 4 boys here who are in 3 inches to this Warboss. And then instead of taking a morale check, he can just use the rule called BreakingHeads, and these 3 mortal wounds go into this unit, and there will be 1 boy left, and he's just going to be happily going home and bringing 29 more boys back from just one of the flanks.
Yeah.
That's also a reason why I like this list. I feel if I see an orc list and it doesn't have 30 boys in it, I feel it's not really using the utility that the boys bring to the table for screening, for all these close combat attacks, and just putting your opponent in a position where you have to kill the whole unit is very annoying.
Right. Yeah, a lot of people complain, or the Orc Boy profile has not aged well, I think, through 9th edition. So they don't do a lot of damage, especially against high armor stuff. You're playing against your Death Guard, your Dark Angels, and you're bouncing up against Storm Shield dudes. And they don't trade well in that situation, but that's not really the role of the Orc Boy unit. They're a unit that you can throw onto the other side of the table, and you can trade for primary and secondary objective points, and you can keep your opponent off balance. You can engage all of their ranged weapons, and the intelligent thing about Andy's list in this case is that all of his damage is coming out of these guns, and all the Orc Boys do is just create space between your ranged attacks and your opponent. So they have to deal with these 30 Orc Boys, and they have to overcommit to kill them, and in doing so they have to then move out into line of sight of these guns, and they have to they're not going to be able to engage those guns before they have a chance to try to kill their opponent.
I think the game would be very different without the boys already, and
yep.
Andy can't really buy much. This is just 240, 250 points maybe with extra upgrade for the boss. That's just more buggies. I think it's not worthwhile. We should update on the
an interesting follow-up here. It looks like, is this a metabolic overdrive on this unit? Are we just not even going to attack with the Gene Stealer?
Must be, yeah. So what Trevy is saying, he's using a stratagem that lets you double move. I think just after you move, right? You move again with the unit. And
Correct. Yep. You move it again, and you
on a
can
1,
advance.
you get a mortal wound for the unit, which is, I mean, G-Stealer, they kind of hurt from it. All the monsters don't hurt from it at all. But it's still very strong because basically a quicken for 1 CP. The only downside is you cannot charge after it, or I think not even shoot, right?
Shoot or charge. Yep, you can't do anything. You can cast Psychic spells, which is nice, but that's it.
And you can
also perform actions, interestingly, which is very impactful.
Oh, that's crazy, yeah. I was actually, I played a tournament in the group stage. I think one who also attended your finals, the Ben Hunt. And I was screening out my whole deployment zone for 3 turns. I was like, okay, he's not going to come. He's not going to get scramblers. And then this annoying little Victor, he was like, okay, I'm just going to move 18 inches into your deployment zone and scramble.
Yep. He does a little Zoidberg waddle. He goes, whoop, 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 whoop. Snaps his crab claws. Boom. Scramblers deployed. Get out of here. Yeah, it's almost impossible to stop Tyranids from confirming.
That's what I mean with the Codex has strong stratagems. This manipulating the movement phase in this way, I feel is very strong because you basically can prevent shooting, prevent close combat, get to objective, do scramblers. That's very, very strong.
Yeah.
Where are we at now?
Yeah, a lot of people consider like Eldar or Drukhari maybe as the maneuver faction of the game, but they don't even hold a candle to how fast Tyranids can be if they want to.
I agree.
Okay, so looks like that was a smite, I think, out of Swarmlord. Casting a Catalyst on the Hive Guard. They're not in grave danger right now, but it does help shore up your position a little bit. There's a potential that if your charges don't go very well and you don't get a lot of models back onto this objective, you shock jump can teleport over there and get a bead onto these Hive Guard, and just making sure that they're as defended as possible to keep that while we stand alive.
He needs to keep screening. If he doesn't do that, the angles will be too good for Andy.
Yeah.
What do you think about this move with the Gene Stealers? I'm surprised he didn't go crazy.
I don't. I'm going to be honest. So what we could have done, just to elucidate, I think what might have been the play here. We'll see if Kayu, he probably has a plan in his back pocket. But what you could do is use that Metabolic Overdrive to double move the Swarmlord so he can advance twice and get probably behind where the Hive Guard are, behind this ruin, which is a very defensive position for him, and then move the Gene Stealers out with that Metabolic Overdrive to basically get them where they are right now and chain them back to where that ruin is with the back objective on the right-hand side. And then you use Hive Commander to get them right up to where the boys are, and that charge is automatic. You have really good control over where your positioning has to be to get your charge off. And then once those Gene Stealers wipe that unit, you just pull them right back into the objective, or into the L where we talked about before, exactly where they are right now.
Maybe he didn't feel comfortable moving out with the Swarmlord. Could be.
Yeah, I mean, Swarmlord has a 4+ invulnerable save. Like, he's pretty. He doesn't get killed to chip damage that easily. And if he hides behind the Hive Guard, I don't know what. Like, maybe a cannon wagon can squeak line of sight to him. Like, maybe one shock jumps over. But you certainly have to overextend to even try. And with 2 Dimacarons like in your face, I don't know if you have the opportunity this early in the game to try to kill him.
If the shock jacks just really go for this corner by themselves, they're pretty much alone. The scrap jets are all the way in the back of the table.
Yeah. Not to mention that being High Fleet Kraken, these Hormigons can fall back and charge. So
another reason to wrap them. Come on, Andy, what are you doing?
Yes. They can charge back into re-engage and use that charge move and that big consolidate move to string out and basically screen out to where the truck is.
Yeah. Maybe one thing Kayu is trying is just bring the formation down, and then basically he does the same as almost killing the boys. You know what I mean? Like he now goes for the option. Okay, he's not going to completely finish the boys, but he's at least going to bring them down to 5, and then trigger the Green Tide.
So here's the double move going down on the Hormigons to move them back up into the threat range so they can charge.
So amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
so lovely.
Yeah, the sequenced movement
Yeah.
tricks Tyranids have are very cool to see. And a little bit of a change to that the Swarm Lord's move. You can advance when you do it, per the wording of the rule. But as of the January FAQ, you can no longer fall back with the Hive Commander move, which was something that came up pretty often actually previously.
Did you use them to fall back?
So if you're
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you could like if your opponent moved up to engage something in the front, you could smite it and then pull that unit out of melee, for example. You could hit and run with your Psykers. It was there's a lot of flexibility, but now you can just advance when you do it normally. You can't fall back.
Yeah, basically they just need Star Wheels. Don't you have some transport for the turn?
So what I'd be worried about here is kind of the knock-on effect of if this green tide ends up happening. It could go down by the other Hormigont unit, by the Tyranid objective on the right, or on the bottom right, excuse me. And if we get that charge, you break the second banner as well.
Kayu needs to be informed by Andy what's exactly the mob rule, what exactly it does. And he's just trying to make sure he knows how to resolve this to get this unit at least down to 5. I think that's all right. I'm not against the strategy because the green tide will have to come at one of the flanks, and he still has enough gaunts to screen it out. So yeah, why not? It's better than maybe overcommitting and doing a mistake.
You are kind of giving those gaunts up to the boys, though, and while it's not a great trade for the boys, I mean, they would much rather be killing something more important. You are losing your banners, and that's.
You mean when the boys make the charge again? Yeah.
Yes, which they will every time. They do it every time.
Oh wait, not when I'm playing them.
One thing also to keep in mind is some coherencies in chat about, or actually some comments in chat about the coherency issue. One thing to keep in mind is that the coherency checks after you take your morale test. So even if this boy unit takes a bunch of casualties, there's left to, I don't know, let's say 10 models, and they're strung out of coherency. You take that morale check, you lose 5 more. You just pull the 5 models that you would pull to coherency anyway, and nothing changes essentially. So it's actually it's a lot safer than you think. And once you get down to 5 models, they just use old school coherency rules. So they just have to be within 2 inches of one other guy. So you can have the 5 models at the end of the chain just standing there just fine.
Yeah, you can do so much. And I think actually the like 90, 120 Orc Boys list is a decent list in this meta. Of course, it has quite a few outs against, I think, against Space Marines on a table like this, where you don't have many angles to shoot at. The Vanguards just hiding and jumping around with the Storm Shields and Power Claws. But in general, you can do a lot with the movement and positioning of the boys, and yeah, just playing for the primary and taking away points from the enemy. I think it's actually quite okay. It's just the main. Yeah. At least for me, the main way of playing 40k right now is through tabletop simulators. And oh god, I did it like a couple of weeks ago. Played in this sparring game against Poland with 120 boys, and oh, I hated it. I had a great opponent, but I hated every single second of it because it was so. Like, because you can move it quicker, you can do lots of stuff, but it's just, it feels like you are playing.
You have to embrace the drag select. Just drag select and
no, I cannot
remove your whole.
I'm used to playing this in analog, and then I just wanna have 2 hands.
Use the big brick formation tools. You just pick up 30 boys, you put them in ranks of 3. It's 10 by 3. We're playing Warhammer Fantasy now.
So this turn is too much of your like angle. You cannot do it. Okay, let's try focus on. I think we're in the shooting phase now, and I'm gonna put Kayu on the stream sound.
I cannot shoot with everybody. I think
looks like we plinked a couple of Gretchen.
I think
out of this pink unit.
Gretchens are the high priority target.
Yeah, he's in.
1 and 2.
Yeah, 2 guys. Okay, good. 2 guys will shoot
Like we
there.
mentioned, if
And
you
the
lose those
2 other
objective
guys
holders,
will try
it
and
gets a
shoot
little awkward
your
because you suddenly have to put your
truck. Yeah,
valuable
this one
stuff onto those
reaches,
objectives
and
to get shot by
this
the hive
guy
guard.
here also reaches.
Yeah,
So
okay.
2 for the truck, 2 for the
So we
grots.
see Kayu
Mhm.
splitting the fire of the hive
So
guard.
I will go with 2 for the grots first.
All right, 2 on the grats. Can we do it? Only 2
Okay,
hits.
2.
Probably not. Rip. Kills on 2s.
Wounding twice.
No one there. Okay.
So 1 survives.
Well,
1 lucky Gretchen.
same problems last turn. One
Right.
too many.
Might survive with
Then
a rolling run.
it's...
I don't think it's worth the 2 CP.
Oh yeah, 2 other guys on the truck.
Yeah, it depends on how the attacks into the Orc Boys go, because you do want to hold that objective, I think. If the Orc Boys get wiped
Reroll
somehow,
once.
you would lose a bunch of points on primary.
Yes.
Lose 5 points on
Oh,
primary.
only 1.
6 up. Kyle.
I'm making the 6 up save in the truck.
Yeah, so that was two hive guard in the truck, and they do nothing because the
Well,
6 up
well.
saves
Orcs
are
are lucky.
clutch. Yeah,
That's that.
only
So
AP2
shoot
on the
again,
hive guard as well. So
shoot
you'd have a
twice
6 up
with
armor
the
either
big
way.
unit
But
of,
one of the just Orc trucks, especially Death Skull's trucks, are like the most they're the most
one
stressful
guy-
things to shoot at, I think.
Is 1 enough? Yeah, 1
Because they have that
enough. One guy
6
will
plus
shoot the
invulnerable
grot.
save, right? So you're like, all right, I hit him with a
And-
last cannon. This will be fine, right? You're like, boom. They're like, all right, well, hold on. I'll take my 6 up invulnerable save. And you're like, please don't roll a 6.
And they have
then they
another
roll-
rule.
My
Yeah,
sixes
and then
are hot.
they don't roll the 6. You're like, all right, we're doing it. Let's roll damage.
Yeah.
We're doing it. Let's roll damage. I rolled 6 damage. And like, hold on. We'll roll Ramshackle. You're like, please don't roll a 6 again and reduce it to 1
That's
damage.
amazing.
Please.
Grot first.
Okay. So splitting his fire
it's only
again.
6s.
One more
3 ones.
one hive guard
No,
shooting the single grot.
It's gone.
And then 10 shots on the truck.
10 shots in the truck.
Rerolling once.
I like how Kayu is
Oh.
prioritizing the
4
Gretchens.
sixes.
It's like that's what he bring the hive guard for. Killing Gretchens.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's good.
5
That was
wounds.
not a great roll.
6s.
10 hits, 5 wounds. Ooh.
Eh.
No, 6s. Can't,
Okay, I roll
can't
everything
kill it.
together. I don't reroll anything. I think.
Yeah.
Or will I actually?
Ooh.
Maybe I will. So I will roll individually.
Mhm.
That's a 3. How many does it have?
Let's see if I make that 1. So that's 4 wounds.
The Ramshackle.
Yeah, stays 4 wounds.
4. And how many does he have? 8 or 9?
10.
Jesus.
So he's got 4. See if I make that 1.
Let's see, Ramshackle. Oh,
Ah,
there's the
the
Ramshackle.
Five.
Yes.
Saves 1 damage so far. Another 3. No way.
Another Ramshackle.
Another 3.
Oh, 3. Come on, another 6. Ah.
9.
Puts it down.
Good number.
Well, that's unfortunate. And I was thinking about like
And this is yeah, Ramshackle just saved the truck.
Good old
It's
Ram.
gonna get me engaged.
No, the
So,
Homogans have to
honest
charge it to
Homogans.
kill us.
I guess they have to.
Maybe we see that. Do we see that strat for +1 AP? I hope so. Feral instincts, I think. Amazing.
I think they're
Well,
gonna
only in-
they're gonna
only
use
in
Let's shoot
the
them. Let's do
the
some
acid thing
charges.
again,
The
so they
Night
can
Run charges,
kill themselves and just more to the
Mhm.
truck.
Gesund stoßen.
Only in orcs would a rule called Ramshackle be a benefit to
Just
you.
going.
And it's great.
Mhm.
Or actually basing, why not?
Okay, the
Homogans are trying to
Homogans
charge
charging
the
the,
truck.
boys.
Yep.
The Homogans go into the truck.
With a healthy
Ooh.
4. They will-
Ooh.
Did I
This
reroll?
doesn't
Does
look
not
like it's
look
gonna be
good.
enough.
Do I
That's
reroll?
not a good charge.
And Kai is already down to 3 CP.
I think I
And-
will reroll that. I think it's
Oh,
mine.
wow.
Does Hive Guard bleed CP, double tapping him?
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh, that's a
Oh,
5.
fails it with the reroll.
Ooh, I got lucky
The
there.
Yeah, a
Homogans
little bit.
stay
Alright,
right there.
let's hack some people.
Hi Mario,
Two
welcome to the chat.
pieces. So
How's
it's
the other game going?
attacks
Here, Mario
with the
from
regular
Donut
stuff.
Tolle TV
Mhm.
was or is streaming
Rolling those.
the other quarterfinal that's going on right now, which
And
is
then
Liam
25.
against
Or-
Joe.
Yeah, 6
Liam
ups.
from Team
Yeah.
Belgium against
5.
Joe
Fine,
from
hail
Vanguard
attack,
Tactics.
I'll just do it.
Liam Vissel,
Yes.
Hitting and
Playing,
not wounding.
or it was a season one
Um,
T5S2 invitational finalist.
Yeah, 2 times, right?
He was he went down in the group stages of the invitational on season 2, unfortunately.
Do we want to spoil the result from the
Didn't
others
quite get
quarterfinal here? I think we can. Yeah, let's do it. Mario. Oh, I got the result. Let me see. Oh. So now we are seeing right now the Demarcaron doing some damage to the boys. breaking the chain as we talked about, but this is just gonna bring down the boys to the 5 models as we said. So looks like the other game. Holy shit! What a game! Yes. So if you have been watching until here on the recording, you probably also have seen the result from the other game, so I'm going to spoil it. So the second quarterfinal happening today was Liam with Harlequins against Joe with the Salamanders, and it went with a win for Liam, the Belgian player, and he made 99 points. And Joe still made 81 points, but that's not enough. So the Harlequin win and go into the semifinals.
I'm no expert, but I have heard that 99 is more than 81.
I don't have a doctor in math, but okay. So we see some boys going down. Is he just? He's just using his consolidate to do this move, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a pile in. All right, yeah, consolidate.
So what he could have done now is use overrun, which is a stratagem you can use to move again after fighting if you don't have any.
You do have to destroy.
You have to destroy the whole unit
to overrun. So.
I thought you just need to be out of 3 inches. Okay, that's not a very eventful turn for turn. Okay,
that was a little bit of a flub, I think, on the Tyranid side. Kind of felt like the orcs. The orcs came out swinging, and the Tyranids, unfortunately, they had their shoelaces tied together. Tripped a little bit. We did kill all the Gretchen.
Yeah, Gretchen.
So that's nice.
No more Gretchens on this field.
Backline objective. Yes. Finally, we're a Gretchenless game now. But also, interestingly, let's see. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So we're exactly at the point where we could green tide this orc unit. But it's a question of whether you want to do that, because it's not a particularly efficient.
Wait, what did you say? How many models does that unit have now?
14.
Oh yeah, but the unit will go down anyways, right? Yeah, the currency is here. So it actually doesn't matter whether. That's even also like one thing we should add. This is actually very helpful.
Yeah.
Because you can choose to break your currency. So even if just your opponent just kills a single model of your chain, you can put them exactly where you want them, and then do the green tide.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Looks like we're we're getting ready for the green tide here. All
and
right.
Andy's not wasting any time to make more movement with them. He just needs to have them on the objective on the bottom left, so he scores 10 points, and that's it.
Yep.
Because holding 3 doesn't even matter right now, because it would just be equal.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like we were saying, those Dimacarons, they're okay into hordes, but in a strong formation like that, when their spine mod doesn't trigger, only 7 attacks is not enough. It did use its accelerated digestion to regenerate 3 of those wounds, though. So it unbracketed itself by eating the orc boys, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm. So it's up to 12 again, yes. The truck with 1 wound left. How far can he go? I don't know. But this is...
Yeah, it can't be too far, right? It's a bottom bracket truck.
Andy, remember you are bracketed with the truck? Yeah. So we are fiercely judging this game. No inch going further with this truck.
I
think it doesn't matter at all. That's also the thing. Sometimes things just don't matter, and then just let them be.
Yeah, I think he had moved it 6 inches already.
Yeah, just took a few seconds off his clock.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Andy. Oh wait, I'm rooting for the orcs. Let's go, orcs. So I wanna see some play now. I want to see that he's going forward. I want to see
Yeah.
Maybe a Demacaron going
So-
down. I think that's possible.
Do you think there's a universe in which this Dimekaron in the center survives? It's dead, right? Like there's
Well,
no
it depends
way.
a bit whether the deathbirds, which I basically have been ignoring in my line of, like, I haven't seen them because they so blend into the terrain.
With those red
Yes.
bases, though? Oh my god. Bright red bases?
I was just thinking they are maybe big orc boys. No. I don't want to measure, and actually I put myself on Spectre, so I can't measure, but I would assume they are in range of the Demacarons. So the Demacaron's looking at 12 shots, strength 8, -3, d6 damage, where the damage can be rerolled, and 1 hit and wound wall can also be rerolled, and these are hitting on 4s and have exploding 6s. Not exploding 6s, it's just Daka, it's just more hits, more attacks. Yeah, now Andy is measuring.
Yeah, it looks like they're...
I'm pretty sure this
yeah, it
one's
looks like
dead.
they're all gonna... Yeah, it's super dead. Yeah, unfortunate that we exposed the Dimekaron instead of hit and running with the Gene Stealers.
Yeah, I'm still wondering why that was the strategy of Kayu.
Yeah, let me tell you, anytime I get the opportunity to use to trigger overrun on Gene Stealers, I'm doing it, even if it's not the most tactical decision.
It's
I'm in.
cool, yeah.
I want to move my units, and then I want to move my units again, and then you know what? I want to move them again. That's my favorite.
But maybe with a restriction that you really have to kill the unit, that would be a legit reason for Kayu to not attack with the Gene Stealer.
Well, they move so far. You can ensure that you can engage off of the 4 orc boys that were on that objective. You can engage almost the entire Gene Stealer unit into them pretty easily. And then you just get 80 attacks into the 20 dudes who are remaining, and that's almost certainly a wrap on that unit.
I should do. I think Kayu is just being very careful.
Or I guess
maybe it's gonna backfire.
68 attacks. This is only a 17er of Gene Stealers.
Yeah, because they killed 3 with the overdrive thing.
Well, they also only started at 17.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so we're down to 14 even now. Gene Stealer numbers just naturally attritioning themselves.
So some guys asking what's happening. Yeah, so we're basically still in. It's turn 2. Turn 2 of the orcs. The Tyranids started. The Tyranids decided to just kill Gretchens. They really hate Gretchen apparently, and they didn't manage to kill the truck, and they only managed to bring the boys into the position where the currency itself kill enough boys that the boys are down to 5. But these boys will very likely be just green-tided at the end of this movement phase and will be up to 30 again. Other than that, nothing really happened yet. They're both playing very cagey. I still feel like that Andy should make a move and be more aggressive.
Yeah, he needs... I mean, I guess right now, honestly, he's just letting the Tyranids, sort of slowly bleed themselves into his guns, and that's what's happening so far. I mean, this Dimekaron exposed itself, so it's going to get killed by guns this turn. And then the onus is going to be on Kayu to engage and make something happen, because the orcs do have the opportunity for that big 15-point swing on the last turn if they have the beef remaining for it. And so it feels like that's just what they're playing for right now.
Trevy, maybe you have an answer to that. We have someone who really interested in the new Drukhari Codex, and what would you recommend to buy now before the Codex drops? What do you expect to be the definitely viable unit in the new Codex?
It seemed like we saw a little preview of witches, and their melee profile was really impressive.
Yes.
I think that's a style of unit that's really powerful in 9th edition. Just these really fast, sort of really aggressive and annoying obsec units. I think that's likely one that's going to see play. I think Venoms will probably be very good. We see Harlequins, using essentially the Venom to be obnoxious as heck, and that's one of the biggest, the most powerful pieces that they have in their arsenal. So I think those will probably be good. we'll see how the
Yeah,
other stuff survives the transition, but I think that those style of units are going to be they work well in 9th edition, and they're probably going to be good in the Codex.
I always hesitate. I always hesitate a lot because these armies can be so different. At the end of 8th edition, we saw Drukhari list being quite popular here in Germany, which was basically just Rex, Talos, and Grotesque. So there's like zero Venoms in it, and I'm very hesitant on buying stuff. But I think also the Venoms, it's going to be good. This interaction right now with the transports is very strong. You basically need different phases, or at least activations, to kill a thing. And if you're behind line of sight, blocking terrain, you basically cannot be killed if you're inside this transport.
Yeah. I don't think there's a universe where the Venom style of unit doesn't survive the transition without being at least fringe playable. I think unless they get like some ridiculous points hike or something, I think they're going to be just fine regardless. But I mean, I can't tell you about it. The rest, I don't know.
Okay, Chad, there you have it. Buy Witches and Venoms and be good with it. I'm really hoping the Witches also have some nice stratagems. I hope they are priced well. And then, oh God, I'm looking forward to using them in a player fashion. And I think they're going to be great. I hope.
Yeah, possibility for Incubi too. I mean, they're just like a pretty solid melee profile right now, and I think we saw some previews of them that their damage output was going to get astronomically more powerful.
Yeah, chat also comments that the don't fall back rule is very strong. I think so too. I have been actually using it already to some success with some riches, and as we saw before, just doing a what's it called? The wrap here with the Gaunts could have saved 2 CP or take away 2 CP from Kayu, and now he would have 0 CP.
Yeah, also would have made that charge into the truck impossible.
Yeah. Didn't even need to be lucky then.
Yeah.
So now we see the green tide.
Well, unfortunately, when you're a blue orc, that's kind of your thing. So, yep, here it comes. Reinforcements have arrived, including 1 Gretchen, I guess.
Oh, yes.
What's up with that?
So when they green tide, they can come on any table edge, but need to be in 6 inches from the table edge and 9 inches away from enemy models.
I love this. I love this little Gretchen in the formation. He's like, I'm an orc too, guys. What's up, boys?
He's so sneaky.
He's got this. Yeah, he's got the shooter. He's like, how do you do, fellow orcs?
Where's the boss, by the way? Do you see the boss? Oh.
He's got a black ring on his base. He's right in front.
I can't. He has a different base. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
I think they're keeping the Gretchen. Oh, no, he found him.
Oh, okay.
He got found out. Oh, God.
Discovered.
He's going to get bad beaten up.
Yeah. Sneaky little Gretchen over here. Curious that we're not putting any models on this objective. Oh, I guess we can't quite get in there, right? Because it's only 6 inches. Just kidding. I'm not curious anymore.
Sorry, what? I was looking at the chat.
There's no orcs on the objective because they they have to be whole within the table edge, right? They're not quite there. They just got to make their charge and then they'll be okay.
Yeah. As you said.
Which they will. They got blue.
I hope they will.
Yeah.
Andy, what are you doing? To be honest, I haven't put that much thought into this matchup, and of course now I can be very smart and say, oh, Andy should have done this and that. But I really feel the Scrapjets are a great unit to deep strike, which you can do as an orc player. You can just use TSTP and then the whole squad of 3 deep strikes, and this allows him to like really do a flank on the Demarcarons and so on.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we didn't see it on the Death Dreads. I think I've seen them teleport in almost every game I've seen the Sparkly Bits Death Dreads. I'm curious as to why they're on the table. I mean, obviously it's about to work out for them because they're about to bag them a Dimacron and put its head on their wall as a trophy. But
yeah, the
jump
from the
over
weird
here.
boy.
Yeah.
Just now you have a model on the objective. Make sure that Kayu doesn't get
Perfect.
a 15 round.
Good stuff.
Also remember these Mega Knobs have objective secured because they're Deska.
And another, we mentioned it before, but it's worth mentioning again. Not putting these models in cover because it doesn't matter. There are exactly 2 ranged attacks in the Tyranid army that care about cover. They are the flesh hooks on the lictors, I think.
Oh, now he's deciding on another position to place his Mega Knobs. Maybe I should talk a bit about the 2 of the players. So I don't know much about Andy before he entered the WARPhammer tournaments last year, but he has been consistently playing Orcs, and I think it really shows off not that he just stick to his army, even though it's maybe not the top meta army or what's considered to be the top meta army. But it really shows that he is here now in the quarterfinals. And on the other side, we have Kayu, which is really a long time tournament player. And I don't even know. I think he plays like tournaments for like 15 years. He has been to at least. Wait, I'm sorry. I have to. Excuse me?
I just stopped the clock because Kayu had to go to the loo and.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, sure.
I'm back.
You're back. Okay, let's run that thing. Okay, sure. I placed the Mega Knobs here. They're on the objective. Steelers.
Okay, now my introduction's shit. Come on, guys. This was so much. I put so much effort in that.
Ambitious plans.
I even have a text for.
I'm not sure.
For a dice skill, which I will read or at least paraphrase later. Now we just
so let's do some
listen
shooting.
to the shooting phase.
Some horrible things to.
Yes, Andy, do it.
Dimacron. First, this Death Dread is going to shoot.
All right, Death Dread.
Go, kill
this is going to hurt. This is going to be painful.
So
forced to hit with that sparkly base. We have a hit, a reroll to hit and to wound, and the damage.
Dimacron.
Oh, nice. See, that's
one miss so far. Oh no.
24.
So you can reroll 1 from the
1 reroll.
Deska, and then he gets 1 extra shot for the 6.
Yes.
So he has 4 shots. Yeah. By the way, that's totally average.
3.
And 1 more reroll.
3.
Deska, so good.
Saving on 5 ups here for the Dimacron's invulnerable save. 1 gets saved.
Okay, first damage is 2. I'm re-rolling that.
You can
reroll the 2. Exciting. And then a 6.
Oh, nice.
Almost
so
sinks it by itself.
Yes.
Oh,
we're gonna keep this quick.
Yeah, maybe we're underestimating. Oh, I just didn't really see the death threats again. So it's 4 shots again, same target.
2.
Yeah, what are those big Mega Knobs?
2 hits.
They're really big Mega Knobs, yeah.
Oh, 4 hits again.
Oh, nice.
This
okay.
is brutal.
And 3 wounds again.
3 wounds again. All right, all saves this time, please.
No. Go away.
No.
And okay, oh, this one is dead. Yeah, this one's dead.
All right.
1, 6.
Yeah.
11.
This is where he freaks out on the Gene Stealers. Yep.
Boom.
There he goes.
By the way, this was from the second one. This was alone was 15 damage on the Dimacron. Just for the record. So.
And then kills 2 more Gene Stealers. So we're down to 12 Gene Stealers already.
Okay, yeah, the Gene Stealer they just kill himself. You
don't even need to do it.
Yeah.
You hear this, chat? If you see Gene Stealers on the other side of the table, don't attack them.
But I'm not sure.
Because they'll just die naturally. Natural causes.
Whatever it could be.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
well,
well, that makes it an easy choice.
That's a shooting phase. That was pretty good.
Yep.
Unfortunately, we have a whole Death Dread. I'm not going to do anything. So sad. He warmed up his Mega Blasters.
Yeah.
He sparkled his bits.
We're gonna have some shooting in the
10 shots is pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, we have so many like additional random attacks that we can put into these guys. I imagine we lose this Hormagaunt unit.
Who's shooting what now?
I think 12 shots against those guys. 1 reroll.
Yeah.
One Daka.
Okay, 5 hits.
2s for kills.
It doesn't
Quite
max
good.
shots against the Hormagaunts, though, right?
Not
Just
anymore. It was because it's already like an 8 buck unit. So 5 dice, so 3 left. The important question is now,
Okay,
can it be
the
seen?
Cannon wagon. Gonna shoot the same target.
The Death Shard was piloted by a Revenge
Yes.
or a Retributor,
Doesn't
yeah.
actually see.
What was it?
The
Yeah.
Death Shard was being piloted by a Retributor.
Your
Yeah.
truck.
Nice.
It's in like hit, wound, here's 6 damage.
It's tricky. The gun is not sticking
Yeah,
out.
so
That's
I always tell my
problem.
opponents, I have one
mean,
smasher gun here,
no,
so
no.
in theory it can do
Is the
36
run
damage.
actually higher normally?
So you better hide.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
It is. No, and I'm not in the ruin. I should have been. Then that would not be a
It
problem.
was always funny
I'm not.
to try to recount in
So I
the
missed
old
that. I
versions
thought
of
it was
Orcs
close
how
to
much
it.
damage potentially the
But
custom
you
shock
know, if it's an open
shock
ruin.
attack gun could do. Well, what's
he plays
the
this
damage output of that
badly.
guy? Well, it could
Okay.
do like 144 wounds.
I
Yeah.
just got the Demarc around. That was a better plan anyway. Okay. That means the
Oh wait,
Baxter's gonna shoot
can
the
this
Hormagaunts?
thing do a line of sight if it's through the ruin?
It's kind of the wrong gun for that. But okay.
God, what is this again? Do you have to
One
be
hit,
inside
one
of
reroll.
it?
Nope. Reroll.
Is the gun wagon inside of the ruin now or not?
One dead.
I have no idea right now, and I don't.
Missile.
Sure, the middle one.
Oh,
Yes,
hit.
the middle one, yeah.
Daka.
I don't know. It depends on how you
Yeah.
how you elect to define within.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna.
'Cause if it's
Yourself.
the 2-dimensional template, then the gun is overlapping the template. But
Yeah, I think it is actually.
Make the charge. It's the truck. Oh,
Andy?
the truck in charge. Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Did you have a discussion about
Okay.
this?
He's going back to the
Alright.
garage. Actually, yeah, he's good here.
That costs CP, right?
By the way,
That's a
guys,
C.
it's enough if any part of the vehicle is above the ruin to be inside of the ruin. Just as an info. I don't know if you
Oh,
had this
okay.
discussion.
That
yet.
means I'm in the ruin.
Yes, because your whole.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you serious
That's
about this?
weird. Okay.
This is like entirely absurd. Well,
Because-
okay, then we can do this for a little bit more of time, of course. Can you give me the other levels of the rune, please?
Yeah, sure. What?
All right,
But
so
I
what do you-
don't think it can see anything anyway, so it doesn't matter.
What it does mean is I can shoot the Demacaron.
it's also 18 wounds.
But you can always shoot the Demacaron. It has only 18 wounds.
No, well, not always, because
Not
you need
always, I
two
thought-
Yeah, not
Yeah,
always.
but-
Yeah.
So maybe can you also give me the levels of this rune here? Maybe.
Oh, yes. Very good point.
Yes, of course.
Oh, yeah.
You can ignore the obscured rule, but you still have
Oh,
to,
no.
to draw the true
Yeah,
line of
no,
sight.
no chance. No
That's,
chance. We can, sorry about that.
yeah, that's a really good point, actually.
Down because my infantry just hates.
the downside of
No
the
chance.
multi-state
No
buildings, I
chance at
guess.
all.
Sometimes you just
Definitely,
forget
yeah.
that there's a giant skyscraper
Yeah.
there.
Choice of targets. Okay.
Fair enough.
Anything
what's
good,
gonna
guys?
happen
Yeah, everything good? Or
Yeah, of course, like until now, everything's fine, yeah.
yeah, okay.
So we're gonna shoot the truck into
Yeah.
Okay.
no hits. One hit.
Is he
Yeah, that's
degraded
maybe
hitting?
one downside
I
of
don't
these
think so. I have to check.
states,
I think he
runes with
goes down
states.
movement
People
strengths and stuff.
sometimes
It's
forget
the
about
orc
it.
style.
Yeah.
And then,
Because he hits on 5s anyway. There's not much to go down. No
Yeah, just ask.
strengths and attacks. He has only one attack.
but
So it's good that
I've
this
also
is a
heard of
wound.
people who were reading
Did you
the
want
9th
already?
edition rules.
Yeah,
as,
the 4.
okay, cool. If I'm in the ruin,
Yeah, good.
the ruin doesn't exist, so I'm just gonna shoot through the wall. No,
Yes.
that's not what it says.
Yeah, it's an additional requirement on top of normal line of sight. Yeah.
Fine.
Not only do you have to be able to see the thing, but also you have to not pass over obscuring.
So, well, the shooting, even though the Democrat is gone, it's just one part of the army. The Drexler jumped back. Maybe we should highlight that. So one
they
Drexler
don't have
has
any
jumped
shooting.
here, and with this for 1 CP strategy, we can jump back
This
into his
guy
original
doesn't see him.
position. So we still don't see much push forward
Yeah,
from
no,
the
I-
orc side, but I think we're now going to see two
Yeah,
trying to
5
make
up.
2 charges here on the Hammer guns, trying to destroy these units on the objective.
Yes.
Oof, good.
Nice.
Okay, I guess I gotta pull the stratagem with the truck there. Right.
That was
Okay,
a
that's-
save on the Hormigaunt with the big shooter.
That's all.
Are we gonna
targets
ramming speed that
killed,
guy?
Yes, 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 we are.
Please, please.
Oh god, I want to see that.
Kind of went too bad.
So the
That
orcs have a
means
stratagem
we
for
are
2
going
CP.
to go into the
Vehicle
charge
can
phase.
make a 3d6 charge, and
try
if it makes the
another
charge,
9-inch charge with the boys.
on a 2+ makes d3 mortal wounds,
It's a 5,
which
so I'm gonna reroll
should
the 1.
kill this little Hormigaunt
Automatically kill it. So now the real question is, do you
No,
caustic blood to kill the truck in response?
Let's go.
here. Please, yes.
Just the BMs.
Let's go 9 with everybody. Right.
Okay, that's a
I'm
10
just gonna
again.
put that ruin down.
Yeah.
Easy
I
game.
want to make it go away.
That's why we paint our models
Come back.
blue, chat, to make them luckier.
Nice. This
Boosh.
is actually very big now.
So
Yeah, that's a big deal. Oh, we're gonna
Yeah.
use this WTC rolls. We're gonna
minus
jam inside the wall. I
8.7.
love it.
Let's put it down.
You know, some
Oh, yes.
people try
Okay.
to make games
then
easier in
go-
TGS, so to just change the rules. So
1.3.
I'm not gonna go down this road completely now. Let's just say it doesn't matter in this case.
Oh, yeah,
Luckily,
yeah,
I'm so
it's
happy we haven't seen
Yeah.
any Democrayon in a war yet.
There's
And-
no universe in which this Hormigaunt unit survives.
Yes.
Even regardless of the number of orc boys that get into it, I think.
Shufflings, shuffle.
This is a really big deal. This
Yes, it
charge
is.
getting it. You're going to break the
Okay,
second
fit it
banner.
in.
You're going to put so much forward pressure on these
Whoever's
Tyranids.
can.
What the Tyranids needed to do is force the orcs to start coming forward with these
Okay.
these big gun trucks and stuff. And they just don't have to. They can hang out outside range of the Hive Guard, make the Hive Guard waste
Okay.
their shots on Gretchen as they've been doing.
Yeah.
So
And at this
tempting.
point, we're running low on stuff that kills this boy
I
squad.
can charge the
Genes, there's only 12 Gene
Stealers
Stealers left. They don't kill
Oh,
nearly
God.
as many as,
Wow.
as the full
Yeah, you
full
have
unit.
only 1 CP. It's a good reason to do
The
that.
Dimacron's not going to do it.
Okay, let's see what I roll.
Obviously, you're not as
Um,
incentivized to wipe the unit anymore because Green Tide can
Yeah.
only be used once a game. But that unit is going to start getting in and
Rerolling.
just engaging everything. And if those Gene Stealers are dead,
Yeah.
before we start actually fighting the
Okay.
Scrap Jets and the Death Dreads and
That
stuff, those
would've
things
been
are just
too
going to be able
much.
to wander
The
around
truck is
and
going to pay 2 CP.
fire it whenever they want.
The truck's gonna charge. The truck's gonna charge. The singer go on. I want to see that.
Yeah.
By the way, Trevy, you are rooting for the wrong army right now.
And go for the 3d6 charge.
Good thing I did. There wasn't a prediction
Into
bid
the
on this.
background.
Yeah, there he
Nice.
comes. Big 12-inch charge.
Oh god, I'm actually traumatized by this. I had like a unit of 5 Skywars jump through
Okay,
the whole orc
so
army
within 1
with a
inch,
3-up
which means
save and
on a 2+,
locked
you
in
take
combat
the 3 mortal
10
wounds.
smasher guns or something, and it's just a single
Somebody's gone.
scrapjet, turns
Well, it
around,
cost me 2
uses the
CP.
stratagem,
Reroll we made.
moves 10, makes like a 12-inch charge,
Okay, we're
and then
piling
then
the boys. I can
suddenly
pile
it
them
does
with the truck.
2d3 mortal wounds on 2+ each. No, on 2+ and 4+.
Considering
Then
for a
two
second the
d3s were each of 3, and then by itself with attacking twice kills like 2 more. So suddenly
can we
had
do that in
0
the charge
Skywar
phase?
left.
Yeah.
No, this
It's
We
very
had
funny.
I have a game on a video on my channel of a kill tank
Yeah.
ramming, speeding, and charging. I think an immolator that was on like 1 wound and killing it with the ramming speed damage, and it exploded, killed a second immolator,
So,
and then he unstoppable momentumed into
not based
like
in-
10 retributors.
Oh yeah, there's even an orc stratagem where
Anybody
like
yet?
actually if he wanted, there's an orc stratagem Andy could use to move again, no charge again with this truck,
Yeah.
which doesn't make sense, but it would be fun.
You can charge the Gene Stealers.
Yeah.
Deal me G3 mortal wounds to them. They kill it. You know you're gonna blow up.
He could
Just
charge
for
the
Yeah,
Hive Guard if
but
they would be close enough.
He wants
Yeah,
to
that's fair.
fight.
He did roll a
He wants
12-inch
to
charge. He
fight
wanted to put the front of this truck
He
inside the
wants
wall.
to
He
go
wanted to make the most of his
here.
better.
He wants to
He
go
could make
fighting.
no, okay. That's not serious. Let's
Fine.
focus on the game a little bit. So the charge was made here. I think it's huge, as we already said, and these homo guns are going to be gone. Andy is still trying to
One
make
spot to fight.
use
here,
of his
taking
bodies.
out with this guy.
I think I would have
And
liked to see these
let's
boys,
do that.
at least like a few, make like their
Fine,
10-inch move or 9-inch move up towards the
he
war
can
boss.
fight if I want
So
it,
they
if
can
he wants
also
it.
be safe from morale.
So
But
1, 2, 3.
I guess it's a bit
4,
hard to really predict everything.
5,
And
6, 7, 8,
you
9,
always have
10,
to
11, 12, 13, 14,
account
15.
for all the possibilities in the
fight,
orc army, because you could make the charge
times
and be
4
completely somewhere
is
else, or
60
not make it, just stand
minus
there
4
and
because this
be out in the
shooter
open.
boys is
Yep.
56. And what's the boss?
Just 56
Okay,
attacks
there.
into these
Okay, 56.
9 Hormigons. They'll be fine.
Yeah, I will just remove them.
Should be. Yep, fine with that.
Yeah, he just takes them. Actually, good sports, because we are playing a clock game, and
Alright.
Andy has less time on his clock right now, so he can use this time of not rolling dice.
I wonder if it would have been smart to try to keep them in close combat and then
Yeah,
save myself
the
from
thing I wanted to
shooting.
say before the shooting phase was that Kayu is a very veteran player. He played more than 10 years in tournaments, and he's been to the WTC, what was the ETC, the European Team Championship, and actually has won it with the German team before. So he has quite a reputation as a very experienced player, and I think Andy has big respect for Kayu as a player, and was very careful with his deployment and generally with his style going forward.
I'm happy with this.
Right now,
Yeah, really impressed with Andy's play so far. He's done a really good job not to be over aggressive. It can be
End of my turn.
There's definitely possible to get scared of those hive guard and just try to go all in to kill them, and then a big turn of shooting kills like all of the scrap jets or something, and you're just like, well,
yeah.
wow. And Andy's just never, he hasn't fallen for the trap. He's played super conservatively. He's taken what he can get, and he's really put the ball in Kayu's court to make perfect plays to get ahead on the game, and so far he just hasn't, and that's definitely put Andy significantly ahead. 2 banners broken on Kayu's side of the table. Only one primary objective scored here, so for 5 points, and just losing models to minimize losses. Potential to lose 1 while we stand here if the Gene Stealers go in.
The Gene Stealer are also the way we stand. I thought this was the Hive Guard. Oh.
It's the Hive Guard, the Gene Stealers, and the Swarmlord, I believe.
Let me check this list again.
Because one of the Hive Guard units is small.
Oh, I only have the group stage list from Kayu here. Let's find it. By the way, guys, if you want to check out the lists and the results from the WARPhammer Championship, I've posted the results spreadsheet in the chat before. I will do so again. Maybe I still have it in mind. Yes, I will do so again. You can check out all the results and all the army lists and... Oh, wait, not the army lists, but you can see all the results from all stages. You can see the army lists from all 8 players in the final stage. And if you want to see the army list from the different stages, from all the different matchups, you can go to BCP and go and search for WARPhammer, and you will find the championship, you will find the upper, the lower playoffs, and now also the finals with all the different matches and results. What we have done for the spreadsheet, actually, we have put in the screenshots from all these score sheets, like the one here in the TTS. So actually, you can really look and see what the scoring was for Kayu's games or Andy's games, if you want to know what secondaries they took, how their scoring has been, and just get some more insight into their games than just seeing the list and the final result.
So it looks like Kayu pushing forward his Neurothrope here. Gonna try to, I think, pick the truck off with a smite out of that guy. Swarmlord, I imagine that we go for to buff up this last Dimacaron with Catalyst and Onslaught and get it to double move and try to make something happen on this other side of the table. If we just commit to the Dimacaron to boys, it's going to kill like 3 of them and then it's going to die. Although we got the Smash Boss in the back here who's going to be able to, in addition to the shooting, even if the shooting goes south and it makes every invulnerable save conceivable, I mean, that guy will probably clean it up.
The Smash guy? Who's the Smash guy?
The War Boss on the bike.
Ah, yes. He has a normal movement from
what
14, and he
advance?
can advance and charge, and he advance flat 6. So he's very quick. He should
Yeah.
easily be able to defend the truck.
So
So if
18,
anything
he
happened to the
gets
truck,
very close to the wall.
the war was going to
Yeah.
come and retaliate.
Avenge me. Should keep in mind that the Dimacron does not ignore the difficult, right?
Ah,
It
yes.
looks like we're going to be able to skirt it. All right.
He just has to keep moving because he cannot end in the wall. But I think Kayu is aware of that. Is he?
Close.
Maybe?
Oh yeah, Andy is taking care of that.
In my list, I don't even have one.
Yeah, that looks like a precarious position.
Still big time in the wall.
Yeah.
But maybe you have to move the neural trough a bit back.
I think I got kicked from Skype. Is that correct?
Yeah, that
Oh,
war
yeah.
boss on Warbike, no
Because it just
brutal
showed-
Bacana on him, so not the +1 damage. Only a 3 damage killer claw, but the full rerolls at strength
Oh yeah.
12.
Kayu, if you could join Skype again after you move. Yeah, just drop the clock. Cool. Thank you.
So that even without the brutal Bacana, we'll still have the damage output to put a serious dent into a Dimacron.
Yeah, he
and
still
probably
has
probably
3
not
damage
die in
per attack.
response. Yeah. And he's also 8 wounds at a 4+ invulnerable save, which is like pretty good.
He's pretty nice. I'm really surprised that the Gene Stealer really are the why we stand before it. They are so expensive.
They are very expensive.
Wow, I thought they're more expensive than this big
Yeah.
Demarcheon thing.
Yeah, I think honestly that unit's like single-handedly keeping Tyranid players from taking While We Stand We Fight,
Yeah.
because you always lose your Gene
Yeah.
Stealers. They always
Yeah.
trade for something.
Yeah.
And they're always your While We Stand if you take it.
I will check back with the guy, people.
Let me just switch real quick to my phone so we have at least something. The phone works at least.
Thank you, Kayu.
No worries.
So,
Looking for the link. I'm sorry, guys.
okay. Kayu's gonna join Skype again so we can see his beautiful face while he smashes some orc boys. Yeah. So Kayu could potentially just play the same game as he played before. Just kill the orc boys, just go for the weakest link or the smallest guys in the armies, which are now the boys and not the Gretchens anymore, and stay in
I
his
have
position.
to wait here. Stop talking. I can
Oh,
hear
sorry.
you for a second.
Oops.
I will shut down my microphone.
Okay, now we have Kayu.
Yeah, I think
Skype,
interestingly,
Kayu?
Andy with no models on this top left objective. So if the Hive Guard can commit into the Mega Knobs and we can somehow deal with the Orc Boys, then he's going to be down to five primary on his own. And this big loss in primary that the Tyranids experienced will be mitigated a little bit. It won't quite be as bad.
I just need to change Kayu's Skype. Now we have him. Kayu, can you move? Can you hear me, Kayu?
So how are we feeling about this game, chat? People in chat, let's hear from you. Who are you rooting for? Who do you think is ahead right now? Who's going to win? Is it the blue orcs or is it the red buggy boys?
Yeah, I think we can continue. So we will have. Kayu, can you turn the camera just 90 degrees? That's not 90 degrees. Yes. Okay, hold on. Oh yeah. Why does it not take it? Okay, now yeah. short break. Sorry, guys. Ja. Ja, normalerweise switcht er dann immer von alleine um. Dann mach einfach so. Ja, mach einfach so. Ist okay. Ja, zockt weiter. Komm.
Ray rooting for Tyranids. Marv saying orcs are going to win. We shall see.
Okay, so sorry about that, guys.
A lot of tricks in the toolbox for the Tyranids remaining, although they are on the back foot, losing all their banners.
Always welcome as amateurs here. Sorry, guys. All my HD equipment that I sent out to all the players obviously didn't arrive in time, so we're working with phones here. Can we make Kayu a bit bigger? Yeah. Ooh, that's nice. Oop, oop. Nice. We can still see him. Yeah, perfect. Okay, here we have Kayu back on the screen, and we can also continue the game. The Swarm Lord is going. What's he going to give in 12 inch? Doesn't he need to be in 6 inches for the double move?
Yes. Yeah, a 12-inch measurement is meaningless.
Don't tell him.
So, yeah, Swarmo's going to have to break cover here. He could potentially, like we talked about last turn, he could just run behind this ruin where the Hive Guard are. Assuming that the dumb TTS tail doesn't go over the table edge. Sometimes a little bit awkward on Tabletop Simulator. His model is wildly larger than it is in real life.
Is that the case? Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
Because he's basically just a normal hive tyrant. That's...
Yeah. The tail's all curved around his legs, and he's about 3 inches tall. He's teeny tiny. And you can assemble his arms like all hugged in, so he's actually really easy to hide in real life. But TTS a little bit tougher. Yeah. Although sometimes you get cheeky line of sight off the tail for smites and stuff, which is pretty useful. So you win some, you lose some.
So the ups and downs.
Mm-hmm.
So this sounded like a very shitty techie phase. He did a perils, but I think he rerolled it.
Ooh.
No. How did he lose?
Swarmlord took 5?
How did he take 5 wounds?
Did he get shot earlier?
Kayu, what are you doing?
I think he's hive commanding himself to hide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is also a nice trick. Yeah, the tail here is actually visible from this side, so at least one Draxa can come here. I saw in the beginning when the new Psychic Awakening for the Orcs came, lots of people try to do always the shoot go and forth in some weird angles. Often it does nothing, as we saw. Like I think he has been shooting with the Dragster into Demacon for 2 rounds. Nothing happens, and then one draft shot comes and kills the whole Demacon by itself. Yeah.
Turns out having twice as many shock rifle shots is better. All right, so we're starting to knock off some Orc boys who are shooting here. And we killed the truck with the smites, it looks like. Yeah. 7 damage on the Swarmlord. It's like, oof. You don't want that guy damaged before he goes in.
So we do a count on the units lost. So Kayu has lost 2 units of Homer guns, 1 unit of Demacaron. 1 Demacaron, obviously. You were counting 12, right? For the total amount. Mm-hmm. So he's still, if he loses no other units, he's still at 15 points secondary for the minimized losses. Secondary from the mission. I'm sure he's going to lose another unit. But with this defensive playstyle, he might be able to get 10 points for minimize. Okay, boys going down. Oh, I'm waiting for the 6-up invulnerable save in the close combat, which is very useful for the boys, and this could even result in not killing them for Kayu.
Yeah, I'm not sure we have the beef to kill them in this case, especially since looks like we're going to send the Hive Guard in to clean them up first.
Yeah, I think that's the right play
to reduce their numbers. At the very least, with a decent charge roll, the Jane Stealers can get inside this building. So while they might eat some wounds from the scrap jets shooting at them, they will be protected from most of the other shooting on the army. So the Gene Stealers, unless they totally flub in the Orc Boys and they like don't kill any of them, they're probably gonna survive this round. Although they will be whittled down quite a bit.
Do you think now it's time for
There's
the
the
move
potential
to,
at that point.
to do overrun back into the center ruin?
If you can kill them, it's going to be awkward.
What's the chat's opinion on the scoreboard? Tyranids too slow. Orcs going to win. Go Tyranids. Yeah, Kayu looks very focused. I think he really tries to play it out, because I think in 9th edition, from my experience, often these games can be very close, and whoever scores one objective more or just does the right thing on primary can win.
Yeah, I think we really need to see. I think what we need to see is I would have liked to at least have seen maybe the shooting commit into the Mega Knobs to try to kill them. And then you just try to clear the Orc Boys. So the 12 Gene Stealers is not enough to do it. We're sort of running out of attacks here. I think what you do... Oh, wow, okay, that was a big swing. 9 get killed by the Hive Guard? All right, well, maybe I spoke too soon. I think maybe the play here would have been to play a little bit more conservatively with the Swarm Lord, put him in the middle ruin, and double move the Dimacron into the center and get your overrun on the Dimacron, killing the Mega Knobs, and then run that back.
Ah, yes, because with in the movement, you can also go through the ruin and then hide behind it again.
Yeah, because he's got the flip belt roll thing. The awkward part is that you open yourself up to an interrupt, which could be bad. Although I think the Dimacron can eat the interrupt from the Mega Knobs, and it's not awesome, but he only gets attacked by 2 of them, so he's probably fine. And then he's ridiculously likely to wipe the unit and pull back behind that ruin, and then the Gene Stealers can swing into the Orc Boys and clear them out alongside the shooting from the Hive Guard. And then you've knocked the Orcs down to a 5-point primary turn for sure. And at this point, it looks like the Mega Knobs are gonna remain on this.
Yeah, the top left objective doesn't have anything on it.
Correct. Yeah. I think that may put the Dimacron in range of 1 Death Dread, but I think that's a risk you gotta take at this point. It almost looks like 1 Death Dread could get in a line of sight through this top left building. Anyway, I'm not 100% sure though.
Yeah, I think he did a good job at hiding it. I think the tank can see it. Whatever's called the wagon.
Oh, for
the
sure.
Wagon.
Yeah. The cannon wagon's always going to draw line of sight though. It's impossible to stop. Those big guns pointing up. They don't fire indirect, but they do fire parabolically over buildings. So.
It's like with flyers. Some are so huge you can fly over obscured ruin, stay behind the ruin, but still see above it, because you can just you're so high and your wings are so tall. Okay, so this doesn't look like an overrun move, because he's going way too far away from the ruin.
This is our charge move right here.
Yeah. I meant like he's not setting up for overrun, but also Kayu's running out of CP. He did double shoot with the Hive Guard, so.
Oh yeah, he's burnt on CP. Oh, that's fair enough.
CP now.
Yeah, we're gonna see if we can kill these Orc Boys. Now the Gene Stealers they're kitted pretty well to kill even Death Skull's Orc Boys, because Gene Stealers, as a free upgrade that there's no reason not to take, they can take Scything Talons, so they can reroll their ones to hit in the fight phase. So even though your AP is not going to do anything against their 6-up invulnerable, you do just get the maximum number of attacks.
Yeah, perfect. So this is 12. So this is the 48? No, 52. How many attacks does one have? 4, right? Yeah.
They're 4 each. Yep.
48, yes.
Yeah, there's a 13 left. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, there's 13. Yeah. Okay. I miscounted earlier.
The chat is asking why do we think Kayu included the Gene Stealers. I think Kayu included them because yes, they are pricey, but they have a big threat range. They are a much smaller Demacaron, and thus they can do different things that the Demacaron cannot do.
Yeah. There's a whole video on my channel, Ray. Go check it out at youtube.com/Tactical Tortoise about Gene Stealers and how you use them.
Go check it out,
and
guys.
why they're great.
The link is, by the way, in the description of this video. So if you like close the live chat for a second,
that is, looks like we just dirt that boys.
Ouch!
Oh my god, 19 dogs.
Ouch! They're gone.
Yeah, that's everybody. And then they can consolidate towards the Mega Knobs to just sit right in this corner.
This is the Homogun spot. The Homogun spot. Yeah.
Very clean. Yeah, they've avenged their Hormogon brethren.
Yeah, I feel like Harlequin Tyranids are army like Harlequins. If they had infinite CP, they would be almost unstoppable.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, their stratagems are really good. It never feels to me like, outside of a couple like key ones, it never feels like Tyranids live or die on their CP. But they are just like way more effective if they have it. Yeah,
but don't you think if you hadn't had these stratagems, you wouldn't have a chance? Like if you always have to really take it on the chin with all your Demacaron and stuff, they just die. I think especially Andy played against the list, which just had
maybe you just don't take Demacarons.
Pardon?
I think you just. I think if you don't have like override stuff, maybe you just don't see Demacarons on the table.
Well, what was the thing? Maite in our tournament actually played before against exactly Andy's list, or against Andy, and he played 3 Demacarons, 2 Herodal, and what's the other thing? Like Exocrine. Yep, I think it all died very quickly.
Yeah. That's the list. I mean, a classic skew list, right? It's a toughness 8 skew list. With your front line, and then the Demacarons are like kind of these fire and forget missiles that you just rocket into your opponent's army. And the downside is that sometimes you just hit like a ridiculously bad matchup for it. And I think this Orc list is one of them.
Yeah,
it's very the damage output is sort of widely distributed over a lot of individual models, and so the Demacarons don't have like one big target they can sink into and like reroll their wounds and double fight and blow it up. And then be okay and rule the table, because they come in, they kill like 2 Death Dreads, and then another Death Dread kills them. Cool.
We saw that. We just saw that. Yep. Yeah. By the way, the score of that match was 89 to 37. So yes, pretty one-sided.
Yeah. And the same thing can be said for like Adeptus Sororitas as well. Do the same thing for the same reason. You know, their units are difficult for the Demacarons to interact with, and they're you could just kill a Demacaron with random stuff in the Sororitas army, and it's hard to get around. But you sort of, once you're taking like those 5 or 6 big huge monsters, that you know what you're signing up for. Sometimes your opponent's not going to be able to deal with them and they're going to lose, and sometimes they are going to be able to deal with them and then you win, or the other way around, I guess.
Yeah. Have you seen any Screwed list really perform well in the Invitational? I saw that there was also one guy running, or even he has been on a stream too, Chris K. He has been running like a 6 flyer list in your tournament. What?
Yeah, that list is extremely good.
What stopped this list? Like another Screwed list?
What stopped the flyer list?
Yes.
Flyer list? Chris himself did. He went 3-0 in his group stage, and then just didn't play it.
Okay. He himself
stopped it. I think he decided to get a little classy, which is fair. Playing 6 Admech Flyers, one of the least classy things you can do. So he decided to make up for it by putting a Herod in his list. The 6 Adeptus Mechanicus, the 6 Stratoraptors formed Voltron and turned into one giant Herodin.
Nice. That's where this comes from.
And then died to White Scars. So that's what it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure how this list from Andy would fare against the Sisters. It's on the opposite of the bracket, I can say. So we are now watching the quarterfinals so it's basically at the lower end. which will play against the next match will be against the winner of the Necron mirror. So whoever wins this match will play against Necrons, that's for sure. So we're gonna have a Necron match on. Oh, guys, let me check this out. Which day is that? There's gonna be the semifinal number 2 will be on Monday. So definitely the winner of this match will play on Monday against the Necron. Whoever this Necron will be determined tomorrow on the channel Donau Trolle TV. And yep, that's happening tomorrow. And tomorrow is also happening the Sisters of Battle against the Forces of the Hive Mind. Who will be the winner of that match will play against the Harlequins of Liam. There's some line of sight discussions going on.
Yeah, it looks like an interesting Necron mirror match. I'm just looking through the lists right now. We have a double Catan versus a single Catan, but bringing more Canoptic Scarabs instead.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting. And the Canoptic Scarab list has only Scarabs, no Wraiths. So he really goes play for the mission. He also plays Death Marks, which are, I think, very rarely you see Death Marks, and he has been having very good results with that list. And I want both Necrons to win because I want to see both plays lists play against some other top opponent, but not against Necrons. So here we can see the line of sight from the toe of the Death Thread against the claw of the Demacaron. And by the way, guys, this would not be possible if the Demacaron had less than 60 wounds.
Yeah, it's one of the 9th edition creating the awkward situation where having more wounds often makes you worse, which is interesting. But yeah, it looks like one Death Dread for sure going to get that line of sight. The second one, I think the players decide that it did.
I'm not sure. Ugh.
Looks a little bit hairy from the second one.
I'm just hovering through walls here. No, I think it doesn't. I think it's only one. But this Demacaron is already on 16 wounds, and if this is the one from last turn, this one did 16 wounds. So.
Yeah, if it's the Retributor Death Dread, you're just dead.
There used to be. Oh, is it still in there? No one plays it. Like you can play ammo grunts, which are basically Gretchen, which just carry your ammo, and you can shoot twice with them if you have one with you. And I think the Flash Kids still have it as a rule, but it's not something the Death Grids could have, which would be very funny because then it's basically Cherubs, but in Orc.
Yeah. Does Badrick get one?
I think. But now, maybe it was before the Codex. Now it's only rerolling one hit roll. In the past, I think there was maybe double shooting, but I might be mistaken. I've been doing so much double shooting with the Orcs when there was still the shock attack gun and the looter bomb. But this is all things of the past. We're now seeing much more buggy list, which I think is also fine because people have been trying to play these buggies, and I like they made them decent. They gave them nice upgrades in the Psychic Awakening, and Andy is really putting them to work for him. We're gonna see lots of shooting coming from the scrap jets now. They're being positioned to take out the Gene Stealers. The first Shock Jump Jackstar jumped here to also be able to shoot at the Demacaron. So we're gonna have Death Dread, Dragstar, and I think Gunragon, right? Yeah, the Cannon be able to shoot them. So yeah, this is a dead Demacaron. No chance.
Yeah. Yeah. There's like no universe that survives. Yeah, I think that needed to commit this turn. Either to get deeper into that ruin to make it more difficult for some of these longer range guns to hit it, or just to try to start killing stuff.
Kayu is the turn player. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we are having turn 3. Yeah, there's still enough rounds, I think, for the orcs to come forward.
Yeah, especially with how maneuverable this list is. I mean, we got the literally infinite move on the shock jumps, and then the scrap jets themselves just moving 10 inches with an advance, and they don't really suffer too much for advancing, given that if the war boss is nearby, they can advance and charge, and all their weapons are assault anyway.
Well, it hurts them,
so
the
yeah,
orcs, but you still get something done.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's a very mobile army, so it's going to be able to close that distance really quickly.
By the way, there are the warboss on bikes coming, and I think if the Hive Guard keeps hiding behind the ruins, at some point we're going to see the warboss smashing his killer claw into them.
That war boss, one of the most powerful entries, I think, in the orc stable right
Definitely.
now. Just a really, in terms of points, a really inexpensive unit that can get an insane amount of work done and is almost entirely uninteractable by your opponent. He has like the defensive stat line of like a, I don't know, like a big dreadnought, like a Wolfen dread, except you can't shoot him because he's a character. And then he punches, as hard as any Space Marine, harder even.
And he has toughness 7. That's a nice stat.
And he's toughness 7. Yeah. Yeah, even when you get there, he's not like most Smash characters where it's like the troop master, right, or a Smash captain, a couple smites, maybe a couple good gunshots, and that guy goes down. He just eats them. He's like, whatever, just keeps going. Sometimes you build that guy in. If you don't want to take the Killy version, you take the Super Cyborg body instead, and so he's at 8 wounds with a damage ignore, and just refuses to die.
That's crazy. Especially like him as the Death Scar, because then he has at least 1 reroll for the hit roll. It's also nice.
Yeah, no penalty to hit with that Killer Claw either, so hitting on 2s.
So
Good stuff.
the jump does not go off because there's no more boys to support it. The scrap jets and all the other models count too, but it needs to be 10 models to give you +1. And without that, it stays on a 6.
What do you think we were jumping here? We were jumping the Meganovs? They're the only target, I guess, right? Besides himself.
I don't even know. The Meganobs, they have, I think, more than, like, closer than a 9-inch charge to the Gene Stealer, so I wouldn't.
Yeah, they're not great at killing the Gene Stealers, though. Maybe you want to send them into Swarmlord.
Yeah, the Swarmlord. I think that's a good idea because you would also put them onto the top object. Okay, yeah, he does something anyways. Why are we speculating? We can just shut up and watch the game so we know afterwards. Right. Yes, okay, he's doing that. Yeah, I like this move.
Well,
because that would
teleporting a couple times, I guess.
Because this also opens up a possibility of getting into the objective, and there is no more objective secured. And as Death Skull, they still have it.
Yep. Yeah, you almost don't even charge here because Swarmlord could tank you and roll good on invulns and just kill that unit in the swing back. And if they just sit around for a while, like he's got to deal with them before he's even able to fight.
Yeah, I agree. The Swarmlord, does he have 3 damage? Does he kill them on go? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So into the Gene Stealers from who's shooting them? I'm gonna put them on the screen. Stream. Yeah.
What? Sorry, what?
1 wound, reroll 2 wounds.
Wait. What? How much?
2.
Is it the
yeah, minus. Yep. 2 dead. Missile.
Oh, it's the scrap jet, yeah.
Darker. No wound. That's 1 wound.
Yeah, the 2 rockets it do have 2 D3 shots, and they are blast.
Grays on 4s,
So
reds
they
on
do
5s.
6 flat shots. So in total, we get 19 shots out of them into the Gene Stealers, which is pretty heavy.
Darker. That's another gray hitting on force.
Well, they're not maxing right
Nope.
now, right?
So this is
not anymore.
goes, and the red has to go.
Oh,
Lag.
Well, I guess
lag,
they
lag.
started. They
They
started.
started.
At,
They should have been
12
maxing.
minutes, right? Yeah. So the first one would have maxed. Yeah.
Rerolls gone. So 6
Oh yeah, but if I roll the scrap trade, I always have 6 shots. That's nice too.
for that.
Yeah.
They're below 10 now.
Yeah, just
So
paint a
the
blue.
other scrap
So lucky.
chat has 2d3 shots.
I killed
Hang on.
solitaires in Overwatch and this
Four.
stuff. They're very handy.
One hit, one
Oh, I love my
reroll.
scrap trades. I miss them a lot.
Wound roll. Yes, 1 wound. Dead. Missile.
Just
yes.
play
Daka.
Void Weavers. It's like the
Nope.
same thing.
Wound.
Void Weaver.
Yes.
What's it?
Save. Now we have
I was thinking
2
of
rays.
StarCraft 2 for a second, and then what's a Void Weaver?
Grays on force.
Yes. Maybe if they cost like 50 points,
that's the
or less,
Daka gun.
at least less than a
From
Star
this guy
Weaver.
still. One
Otherwise, I think
wound,
Star
one
Weaver
will sit there.
does more damage per
One.
point or something.
Dead.
By the way, we are talking about the
Okay.
one Harlequin unit you never see, which is the boat
The-
which doesn't transport but has a shooting weapon, which is very crap and
Crap
way
jet
too expensive.
here.
and-
It's like
Yeah.
an aircraft,
Advanced.
and it
Oh,
has a big
it's not
crystal at the
range.
front that it focuses like a beam
Okay,
through
let's
that
see if I use
gets
them.
more
Let's see if I
more
need them.
powerful the more it
Um,
consecutively hits the target.
One of the dreads here advanced and he can shoot.
It's a,
Oh, wait,
it's a
yeah,
StarCraft.
that's the
It's a
StarCraft. That's the
StarCraft.
StarCraft one.
There you
Yeah, I wish the Harlequin one would get is more strong.
go.
Hitting on 5s.
Okay.
All right, is this
One
the shot
reroll.
into the
Daka.
right now?
Yes.
Only 2 hits.
1 wound, reroll.
These rerolls.
Only
Oh,
one
so
wound.
juicy.
Ooh, all right. 5 up. Easy game. Get
Okay.
out of here.
Oh.
Death Dread.
This dragster shoots him.
So first Roxy
Oh,
into
wait,
the
wait,
Democrat.
no. First the cannon wagon.
Oh.
The left cannon wagon.
Oh, you can see it?
Oh, there's only one.
Oh yeah, he sees like a little
6
tiny bit.
shots.
So cannon wagon,
1 hit. 1 Daka. 1 reroll. 2.
2 hits, 1
1
reroll.
wound. 2 wounds.
It's -2, 3 damage.
6 damage.
Ooh. There you go. We catalyst it.
Does it have Phenopain yet?
Oh yeah,
Looks
6.
like it does.
got
I think we just
Phenopain,
cast it
right?
on him with the Swarm
Ah,
Lord.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
he does.
No tokens out, so it's hard to sell, but
4.
4.
Okay.
4 damage isn't the end of the world.
Other,
Let me just switch on.
Well, we
my
still have the
shit
Death
here.
Dread.
1 second, because it got so dark. 1 second.
Yep.
Well, you already fired the Death Dread, right?
Did he? No, I think
Yeah.
he. Oh,
That was the 1 wound I went through, and he made the save. Cannon wagon.
9 shots.
that's the one from here.
Oh, nice. Reroll.
Good.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yes.
Help me, mother.
That's 18.
It's
Just
just
18 wounds. Oh god.
all right. Make those 5 ups, or just not roll the
Which
5
means-
ups instead.
Explode.
Oh, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
They're doing a
bye-bye.
good job of that.
That opens the
Okay,
nerve.
so that scrapjet here can shoot.
Yeah,
the
I really
Sword
see
Rod.
how the addition of the cannon wagons makes
2
this army
shots.
tick more. Just the long range firepower, the
1
mobility.
hit, 1
Just some
reroll.
some smasher guns here, which just
Nothing,
basically do nothing all
wounds.
game.
Toughness.
But I think every
4.
turn they have put
Oh,
some
that's
damage
one.
on them.
Yeah,
Oh.
and it
Not a save.
it's an army that
These-
you want to sort of dance out of range of the shorter range guns with, but the cannon wagons just give you something to poke, even when your opponent's trying to avoid the short range stuff.
Got it.
I think we're also seeing. I think we're all I mean,
Miss
like
out.
we were mentioning, a really bad matchup for the
Okay.
Dimacrons. They
The
don't
other
have really
scrapjet,
any good
same
targets to
target.
run into, and the stuff that sees them will just kill them.
Yep.
Reroll.
I actually removed the
Reroll.
Dimacrons from my list for matchups just like this.
Yes.
Ended up just going with
Yes.
Gene Stealers.
Yes. Save. Missile.
So that's in the Norothrop.
Yes. Daka. No.
There
Yes.
comes a point in the game when you play against orcs where you just look at the orcs rolling dice, and you also don't really know what happened.
Right.
Not jumping back.
It's even worse in person when they're double fisting the dice
But this
too.
thread now.
They've got like
yeah, he
5
doesn't-
dice, and then they got the DACA dice ready. And they're like, the
Okay.
reroll, the DACA, the damage, the reroll, the DACA. And you're like, oh, okay.
What else can I shoot?
Whatever. You just tell me how many
This
saves.
guy has no targets.
What is that? Tell me what I need to
Okay,
take away.
shooting face done.
Okay, shooting face
I'm
done.
gonna try.
Okay, I take off the players from the stream again. There's going to be a charge in the Stormlord. That's a 10.
This is into the Gene
Oh shit!
Stealer.
Yeah.
Is this possible? Oh, because he can stand inside.
No,
the
no, no,
wall.
no, no, no. He cannot. He's not. He's not an infantry. He's not infantry or beast. Okay, no charge done. I think this was a mistake. This was totally unnecessary by Andy. I think he's getting a bit nervous, but I also don't think it's going to cost him the game. I think he has a big advantage right now.
There's very little that I think we can do here that takes it away from him. If this was a game state like on round 5 or something, I think we would still be in a pretty good position for Tyranids to swing back in. But this being how things are in round 3, it's gonna be tough to come back. I mean, like maybe we split the Hive Guard perfectly and kill everything on the Tyranid half of the table and I don't know, reposition our banners, I guess, and then just make every invulnerable save. We'll just call that plan A. Roll good.
Which charge is that? Ooh, another 10. The boys, the Mega Nubs into the. Oh, this is so juicy. Oh, this is gonna end up on the objective. Oh, that's gonna hurt.
Yeah, break that last banner. There's no more objective secured over there. The Rippers are hanging out somewhere else. Yeah, so what we can do is use the pile in to get around to the other side of the Neurothrope and then theoretically kill him and then use the Consolidate towards the Hive Guard to touch the objective.
He still has 3 CP left. He could even think about double fighting to get into.
Yeah, to swing that back guy around. Yeah,
and then consolidate into the Hive Guard.
Yeah. Stranger things have happened than this Neurothrope surviving this attack, though, to muck up the.
Oh, I have never killed a Neurothrope. Never in my life.
Yeah, I lost one to a kill tank, but that was Raymond.
Oh, nice.
Did 2d3 water wounds.
Yeah, see, my orc armies are missing the kill wagon.
Yeah.
Okay, see, now he's consolidating 3. He wants to swing, and then he can go 3 more. At least 1 inch around, and then he's going to be with his next move. Yeah, he's. I think he moved the bottom one too early. Let me put the players on this.
Okay, so he's got. How many wounds does he have?
1 more.
1. Okay, I don't need to.
All right, Neurothrope.
Bye-bye.
No, but I re-rolled it.
No, you'll be fine.
Reroll what?
He should have 2 or 3 left.
Okay, no, you rerolled to a 2. That was a reroll. I didn't understand what reroll was about. Okay.
Yeah,
so
I was trying to kill him with.
so I have 3 left. Okay, got it.
Oh, yeah. And he actually rerolled a damage roll to deal less damage to the Neurothrope previously.
This is smart
so that
play.
he didn't accidentally die.
Yeah.
Good stuff. That's awesome use of. If you ever have unlimited rerolls, people in chat, definitely consider situations where rerolling your successful or your higher dice is useful.
Yes.
I've seen Sisters players win games by rerolling their hit rolls with Zealot, for example, to miss all their attacks.
So that's 12 attacks with the big source into this Neurothrope.
All right, big 2s to wound. Get out of here. That wasn't very good.
Rerolling. But it means he needs to fail 3.
Here comes 5 ready? Nope. Just for the
just rub it in.
It's casual 10 damage on your Neurothrope. It's whatever.
Oh, it's just 8,
well,
but 8 is enough.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
God.
only 8. You still have 1 objective live for Tyranids, assuming the Gene Stealers don't run away. They are well out of synapse, but
Yeah, I think they have
but that's a paltry 5 points. versus the monstrous sum of points that these orcs are about to start getting. What's our target priority here? Do you think we can? I mean, maybe we overextend with the Swarmlord here a little bit. Try to get both of these shock jump dragsters, kill all the death dreads with your shooting, and hope you just bounce the cannon wagons. Not a good plan, but I think we're looking at rolling astronomically well right now.
Well, this plan would also entail
So
that these 3 Gene Stealer kill all 3 Meganobs by themselves. I don't see that.
Yes. Well,
Okay.
only 2 Gene Stealers. Well, we got 2 lictors. And
Can they do
you gotta
anything?
Keep in mind that the lictors, they have a strength 6 shooting attack with no AP. So basically, these Meganobs are already dead.
Yeah.
They just
And
don't.
we can really see that the
We have
Lictors don't have a play in this matchup or on this matchup on this map, because even without trying, Andy pretty much screened out the whole table, at least this whole deployment zone. So Scramblers isn't really an option, and usually the Lictors are great for Scramblers.
Yeah, they're also good for banners too, just being an infantry unit. And this being retrieval mission, like you were never going to take Scramblers, you're always going to take banners, I think. So maybe the Lictors could just continue to move up and put at least put presence on the objective, so your opponent doesn't run away with 15-point turns. But you're mostly stemming the bleeding there, and even then you're losing minimized points.
What's the cost of that? Yeah,
Lictor, 37 points.
37. Yeah. Okay.
They're pretty competitively costed. Compete with Rippers for 36. So Tyranids have a lot of really good champ units. They're also move 9, so like you just run over wherever you want to.
I think in 9th edition, it's there's a competition of the cheapest non-character infantry unit, and the Lictor's quite close. But I think the Death Cult Assassins at 16 right now the cheapest I know of.
Big difference though is that Death Cult Assassins don't innately deep strike themselves.
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile to pay 21 points for that.
I think Cyberwolves might win it though.
Oh yes, I had actually Jan on.
They're not infantry, so they don't scramble, but they do everything else.
I had Jan, who won your Invitational the 3 weeks ago or something, in a podcast discussing his list, and he also talked highly of the Cyberwolves, and I was very delighted as well. They just serve so many purposes, and
in contention for one of the best units in the game, I think.
Not damage wise, but guys, you don't need damage.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, in fairness, they're only 15 points, and they often do more than 15 points worth of damage. So.
Yeah, they do a lot.
But just for being able to, they trigger Warrior Pride, they score your engage, they score your oaths, they screen your backline. They're just so useful to have.
Yes, and also I think they help the Space Marines get some chaff out, because that's what they often lack. And people run Servitors, company veterans, and all this stuff, but they all fail against Cyberwolf.
Yeah, for sure. It is the goodest boy.
Put myself on a color again so I can.
Now, unfortunate here, I think we're really missing the lack of psychers on this Tyranid army right now. The Swarmlord having to take both Onslaught and Catalyst means that he doesn't have access to his Psychic Scream in this list. So his Psychic phase damage output is not great, and a Scream plus a Smite into that that Meganob unit could theoretically just burn 2 of them. It looks like we killed 1, and we pulled him out of coherency. Wait, what happened there?
Right.
That's not legal wound allocation.
No, it is. It is. You can do that. Oh,
is that guy wounded?
Oh, he was wounded.
Oh, he's the guy. The guy in the middle was wounded. Okay, I get it. I thought the guy in the end was, but no, we're good. All right, here's the Hive Commander move to get him into range.
Yeah, so there's not much happening.
Not going for the shock drums. It looks like. I wonder if we go for a big charge and maybe try to overrun the Swarmlord behind the.
I think it's interesting that the Hive Guard's still standing and also still a big threat, but only now starts to be able to shoot
The player's discussing instinctive
I'm gonna ref
behavior.
that for a second.
Yeah, I believe that your guard is out of line of
It's
sight of
not the
everything
nearest
and is
visible
not
target
in
you're
synapse. It
shooting,
is
you're
always
-1.
-1 to
It
hit.
says, yeah, exactly. So
And it's
there is-
not the
Hold
nearest
on.
visible.
You take the stream. I have to judge this. How do I do this?
Go ahead. Hello, Fred.
What's the question?
Hive guard on instinctive behavior is not shooting the closest target. They have none visible. I'm saying it's not the closest visible.
Wait, that's
So-
just a question of what does the rule say?
Okay.
Yeah, it says.
Can you
okay,
please
-1.
stop the clock? Stop the clock, please.
Oh yeah. If you're not shooting the closest visible unit.
Let's see. Instinctive behavior.
I will look it up
Says-
for you guys.
Sure.
You must subtract from any hit rolls made for it when shooting any target other than the nearest visible enemy unit. And it's not the nearest visible enemy unit.
Well, but it's
It's
also
not visible.
there's no other unit visible. That's
Yes,
close.
none is visible.
Yeah.
It has to be a visible enemy unit you're shooting, and it has to be the nearest. It's
No,
two
it doesn't
conditions.
have to be a visible unit since the unit since the weapon is not needing doesn't need a line of sight.
Let's wait for the ref ruling.
Sure.
because
Yeah.
I think we disagree here, and we can
That's
leave it at
fine.
that. I think.
So it says other than the nearest visible unit. So do you have the nearest visible unit is what? It's
None.
nothing.
Nothing visible.
Yeah, so you get. I would say you get -1. The not the -1, but what do you get?
Yeah, -1.
Oh
Minus
yeah.
It's like one be okay.
Because
That's
how would
wrong,
you argue in another way?
No, because it says if you're not shooting the closest visible unit, and since no unit is visible, there is no closest visible unit.
No, it says
means
shooting any target
I cannot
other.
if it
You're now
no,
shooting
no,
at any
that's not the
target. You're shooting at a target
not
that
the
is not the
sentence.
nearest visible.
Okay, good. If you made up your mind already without hearing my argument, then it's fine. All right?
No, please state it.
Yeah. So listen. So he said that's not the sentence that I'm referring to. I'm referring to the second sentence, which says, you must subtract one from any hit rolls made for it when shooting any target other than the nearest visible unit.
Mhm.
So if I'm shooting, if there is a unit visible and I'm shooting something else, then I get the -1. The condition only triggers if there is actually a different visible unit, and if there's
Mm.
none visible, it doesn't trigger.
My argument is slightly different because you're targeting I think the rule says you're targeting anything else other than the nearest visible unit. Anything else.
Yeah, but there is no visible unit. Okay, so
Well, it doesn't
the
matter.
rule doesn't trigger.
What you are targeting is not meeting the condition. It's not the nearest.
Yeah, I agree on that.
No,
Sorry.
that's not correct. But
It's-
okay,
it's
I
any
see
other
that,
thing-
I see that this is okay. I'm continuing like this.
No, Kayu, so honestly, how your target is something else than the nearest visible unit. Is that correct?
No, it's not correct because there is no visible unit, right? So I cannot even.
Hmm.
So which one is So tell me which one is the closest visible unit?
You
Which
have
one?
none.
All right, okay. the
So
whole
there's
rule
no
doesn't trigger.
unit you can shoot without -1.
No,
Trevy
that's not the
maybe as a native speaker, do you want to chip in on that?
Okay.
Trevy?
Yeah, I've always. Oh, I'm not in. I'm
You
not
need
in
to
Discord.
unmute yourself.
I don't hear.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never heard the interpretation that if you don't have an eligible or a closest visible, then you wouldn't take the shot. Basically, if it's not the closest visible, then you're not shooting the closest visible. So you would be -1.
Yeah, okay, but still, okay. Anyway, yeah, you made your decision already anyway, so I don't even continue the argument with this. All right, so I should.
Okay.
Everybody wants.
So we mute ourselves again.
Nice to hear you, Fred.
So that I'm gonna do them one by one.
Ooh, okay.
Uh,
Probably this is like one of these things that happen very rarely, because usually you have something around your Hive guard, right?
It actually happens pretty often. if the Neurothropes get out of position, sometimes the Hive Guard give themselves -1 to hit.
You mean because at some point your Neurotrophs will start going forward and it's needed?
Yeah, they got to run away. Sometimes your deployment's awkward and there's a Hive Guard unit on the flank
Okay.
or something, and they just
Okay.
leave.
Okay.
It's happened. It happens to me in the past occasionally, but yeah, I've never heard heard an argument that if you can't see anything, then nothing counts for -1. That's a new one.
Guys, please start the clock again. Okay. Yeah. Well, I sometimes just say, well, I have heard a lot of arguments in many directions. By the way, that's one of the big reasons why we use the WTC FAQ, because it just solves issues. And I don't care how the issues are solved. I just want to have them solved. And I think
it's nice to have it
if
right
these
in
guys are putting a lot of effort to just solve the questions, and boy, there are many questions coming up at them. And if we have it solved, it's just less questions for us as judges, more things cleared up for players to know before the tournament, to know before they send in their list. And yeah, I'm very happy to. We have the game ends here. Okay, guys. Thank you for the game. So the Orcs win. Is that correct? Good. Yeah. Yes, if you maybe make some approximation. I'm not sure if it's gonna it's gonna matter. Maybe.
No, chat. That's not how indirect fire works. The indirect fire ignores the requirement to choose something in line of sight. So even though it's invisible, you can still shoot it. It doesn't count everything as visible. It just ignores that selection of the targeting rules.
Okay, the players are just gonna talk out the last score, because we might need to score in case of some a draw or whatever in the later elimination rounds. That's how we ruled it, and we just gonna let them finish that, and we're gonna have a short post-game interview. So guys, if you have any questions for the players, if you have any questions.
We don't have to Skype
Kayu?
anyway, so.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Do you guys want to take a short break, or can we start?
No, go ahead.
Okay, cool.
It would be great if we could do this right away.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we will put you up on the screen.
I got the screenshot, so we can.
Yeah.
Right.
We have it's recorded on YouTube now.
Should we leave the match, or should we stay inside the match?
Maybe Andy, you can stay, so we still have the game open. For a second.
No, I can even stay. I don't care. It's just a question. If
no, it's fine. Okay.
What's planned? All right.
Oh wow. Okay. Sorry, we were talking about something else now. Andy, congratulations on your win in the quarterfinals of the WARPhammer Championship, and also to both of you, great game. Was very intense for a long time, and I think it was very strategic. Both of you tried to not overcommit, and at the end, the Orcs win. I will give the first word to you, Andy. What are your thoughts on this match now?
Thank you so much for having me on the stream. That was fun. And thanks to Kayu as well. It's a really intense, good game. I think we both played this very strategically, like you said. And I think I got lucky. I made 3 charges with boys and Meganobs that really changed the game, because that meant I had domination of the board. Without them, I think Kayu ties me on primary, and he has the better options on secondary. I mean, I was always going to make 1 or 2 of those, but making all 3, I think, decided the game. And so there's definitely lucky outcome there. I'm not sure I could have got them without making those charges. So it was a tough game there.
Blue Orcs stay lucky. Well,
yeah, that's what they do.
That's what they do, right? So yeah.
Kayu, your thoughts on the game?
All right. Yeah, I think Andy is completely right. I think it really came down to the role of the 30 boys in general, not necessarily only because of the charges. I mean, the charges were quite important, but on the other hand, there were like putting them on a screen to cover like the 2 objectives that he had, because that would have given, I think, that would have given him at least 5 points less per turn, because I could have controlled one objective with the Hive Guard, which is very important, because it's always such a dilemma to shoot at those boys to make sure that they are not coming back. And apparently he's not playing very CP heavy, which is giving him the options to actually do these kind of stuff with bringing the boys back. I think this was important. I don't think that the charges were like absurdly lucky, because this is what the rule is for, and it's delivering regularly. It's fine. I think what I think is, and this is something that the Tyranid community is going through right now. I think that the Dimacron, I mean, yes, has a bunch of very good matchups and everything, but in the matchups where they suck really hard, and they're expensive, you know. And well, here in this matchup, I mean, it's just a matter of time until the gunboats kill the Dimacron. Same for when you're playing against a multi-multi spam sisters or something comparable, you know, something that just decently shoots the crap out of your dinosaurs. So this is also the reason why in newer lists that I designed, there are no Dimacrons anymore. There's 2 Hive Tyrants instead of 2 flying Hive Tyrants instead of the Dimacrons. Which it makes more sense for my, because it doesn't have like the sheer punch, but it has more options. You know, you have psychic powers, you have a 4-up save, you have a weapon, like a shooting weapon also. You have decent close combat ability to just kill troops. But of course, you don't have like the massive punch anymore. But I think that's much better. I think I was never a fan of like all monsters lists, and as we have seen, they never win anything significant, because at some point they reach the bad matchup.
Yes, Andy had it in the earlier rounds already.
Yeah, that's what happens. You know, I basically had like, but also I think the secondaries, as good as they looked at the beginning, I think they were binding me to a very particular kind of play. In particular, the Why We Stand We Fight, because I was always hesitant. I mean, there were other matches where I could have just thrown the Gene Stealers just to bind a few things. You know,
They
just
did
mix
worry
up.
me.
Yeah, right. Like in the middle of your stuff, killing something, then giving you -1 to hit with this grizzly thingy, you know, where you get -1 to hit for everything as long as they're in 6 inches of the
Yeah.
Gene Stealers. I think that would have been possible if I didn't take the Why We Stand We Fight. But you know what the thing is, in our training match with David, greetings by the way, he played your army, and he took Why We Stand and minimize losses. And this is something really awkward, because if you do that and just stay in your table quarter or in your table half, if I don't take minimize and While We Stand, I'm really forced to make a push. And when I make the push, I'm ending up in your weapons, right? In your weapons range and everything.
Yeah, I
And
think
this is the
that's
awkward
a
shit
good
about
point.
this. Because now it was the other way around, which was binding me technically into my table half. But you took the offensive stuff. So I think I would have been much better. Normally in the training match, I took grind them down, bring it down. I think, you know, grind them down and raise the banners, and I think engage or something. I don't know. It would have been more interesting, certainly. Like, it would have been certainly better to have that, because then I would not have been forced to commit so much to protecting the units that were not fighting all the time. You know?
Yes. Your Hive Guard was basically shooting at infantry all game, and it's not really the best target.
Well, yeah, maybe not, but I think but I think for the first turns, I think it was quite all right, because also he can mess up a psychic power test or something. You know, I think there are some things that he got 10 points in the first 2 turns was not well, could have gone differently, I think, in some ways. Anyway, but I think it's a well-deserved win. He played this fantastically. Love it, and did the right decisions, right priorities, and also to actually come up with the decision to push at the right timing is something that very few people can do, to identify the timing at the right place. yeah, but you know what? I will be back, and then my 2 half turns will mingle into this thing, and we will see about how this will go then. But thank you very much for the game. It was a good one.
Looking forward
Thank
to
you.
it.
It's fun. This is fun.
So,
Yeah, thanks,
maybe I
guys.
should
This
play
is a fun
Harlequin.
game to watch and
Okay, anyway.
to commentate.
Yeah, Trevy was also saying that the Democron has the weaknesses, and was talking about lists without it. Would you want to go back to your old list, Kayu, or is it also something
No.
unique
I
now?
would no. Well, you know, since I've seen on Goonhammer that Gene Zero Cult is now like officially the worst army, this is a lot of incentive for me to play Gene Zero Cult. So I have to think about this because I really want to make it happen somehow. You know, I know that I will not win tournaments with that, but still, you know, I just want to. I think the mechanics are fun, anyways, with Gene Zero Cult, and I think I would like to focus a little bit on Gene Zero Cult or the comparable list to what I have here right now, but with the high turns instead of the Demacarons, or just take one Demacaron as a compromise. I don't know.
Okay.
The macaron puts the fear in people. So
Yeah,
and
but
it
also
makes
in me, you know,
it-
because
yeah,
I'm fighting Moodle all the time.
Andy, you
The
certainly
Mac-
put the fear in people now with your gun wagons or cannon
It's
wagons.
amazing. They're
They
very
have
good.
been outstanding. We could always see how they really get the angles on the targets. And I was saying, if you have put all these points into smasher guns, which are technically or like just by the mass do much more shooting, they would just be waste of time. You moving around slowly with them, and I think they were really great. How you feel about your list now? Do you feel like you tackled the hard matchup? What do you fear of going forward now in the other matches?
Nothing to fear really that much. I mean, the Necrons.
Nice. That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, the Necrons that are coming up next, no matter which Necron it ends up being, it's going to be tough because they can easily outscore me and survive at least long enough to outscore me for 3-4 turns, and that's going to be a really terrible because, again, same as in this matchup, I do not have a great choice of secondaries, and that's the one weakness in the list with this. The secondaries, I depend on the mission giving me a secondary, which in this mission, Kayu mentioned it, I could have gone for it. I actually thought about it for a long time, but then decided I want to get the safe 4 to 6 points, because if I am forced to push, I'm not going to go with minimize with more than 5 points.
But you know what I think? I think you're very good with While We Stand, We Fight.
I am.
Particular roster.
I like to take it. It usually gets me 10 points or 5 if it's a really tough matchup. But here, the alternative is thin their ranks. And that, in this matchup, I was sure I could take 10. Without question, I was always going to get 10. I was pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said thin their ranks. Yeah, that's safe. 8, 9, 10 points. While we stand, we fight. I might end up with 5, depending on how it goes. So I'm better with thin their ranks. That's the thinking. And with the Necrons, the problem is that I cannot really take any secondary against them. And I haven't really looked at the mission yet, but
it's
I
Scorched
remember
Earth, by the way, and
the
game is happening on Monday, by the way.
Yeah, so Scorched Earth means the mission secondary is not an option.
No.
I took it in the Greek hammer. Actually,
maybe in a Crusade game or something. Yeah, but no.
Yeah, it's not going to work against Necrons. No way.
But also Engage is not going to work. Also.
Neither. Yes. So there's a bunch of issues there. That's not really. You know, if it would just who could kill the other guy off, easy. I have no problem with that. But the secondaries are going to be a huge issue. And I'm not exactly looking great on primary either, so that's a problem.
Yeah, I can also see this being, but you know what? I can see this being hard for 3 turns, and after that, it's going to be fine. I think you're benefiting a lot from not having the first turn.
Yep.
And no, I think I think you will have to focus on like eliminating all that's scoring.
Just turn on the obscene ruins.
I wouldn't be surprised if somebody could remove terrain. You know, it's like would it be maybe Harlequins will learn about this at one day. But yeah.
Going back to the list, I think it's really I don't see how right now. I wouldn't want to change it. It's doing what it's supposed to do. I have reasonable confidence I can take on any matchup. And the cannon wagons have really been the addition that made it all come together.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is where it changes. Where if somebody wants to play defense, they suffer, and I don't. So that really helps, because otherwise some matchups is just my only choice is basically rush them, and that might be really orky, but it does not really work.
Yeah.
So it's better like this.
Then it will work.
So
you did a great job. So even in the whole tournament so far, so I think you deserve it. Because also, I really think you deserve it. Because actually, I went now in the tournament. I won 3 matches. And I lost 3 matches. So I don't even. I think I shouldn't even be here. So,
I think
you're the wild card. You're the reason why we kept people kept playing.
Yeah, lower playoffs are there for a reason.
Yeah.
No, but I also lost the game before, so I'm not. It's not like I'm just going straight through and beating everything. Different list though at that time, but yeah.
Okay, so we talked about the Necrons a little bit. I'm sure you also will come up with a plan until Monday. And I saw on your secondary you have a very how should I call it, humble approach. You just bring it down, take 6 points, and be done with it. Like, many people wouldn't even consider that, but you just stick to your game plan, and obviously you score very high in the end of the primary, and you win like the basic matchup. Now you're gonna face the Necrons. After the Necrons, we are seeing on the other side of the bracket. We already had the Liam win against the Salamanders, so there's gonna be a Frozen Star Harlequin list, and tomorrow we're gonna have the Forces of the Hive Mind, which also have some Hive Guard in it, but also lots of Death Coral Creek horses and some Acolytes against Sisters. So maybe just speculating now, what is the matchup you would least want to take of these 3?
That's easy, and then it's the Sisters that I don't want to see, because they can just. I mean, they have some units where if I get to shoot first, they're just gone. And that's going to hurt him. That's going to be a problem for him. But then he has that much melters. He has a lot of mobility. He has close combat to kill my boys quickly. I think that's key for a lot of matchups. That's always when I look at the other list and think, okay, he can easily kill my boys. That's a problem. He can do it with very few units. There are lots of lists that can kill 30 boys, but if you need to do a combination of units to kill them, I have ways to mitigate that. And against Sisters, I don't. So that's an issue. The rest, I mean,
Harlequins.
Harlequins. You look at the list, and I think I look at the list and I relax, okay. But then I know who's playing them, and then it's horror. But I had the pleasure to play Barkeeper in a Tactical Tortoise tournament, and he had essentially the same list with all melter pistols, and that was close. It was 1 point. I lost. Why? So I think I could play that matchup. I just have no idea how Lehman's going to take them, except that he's going to play them really well. So that's really a problem. With the Hive Mind, that's Hive Guard again, and there are a horror of mine. I've lost countless games against them. So the horses, they're okay. I played horses in the preliminary round.
Oh, my phone is dying. Just saying.
Oh, yeah.
If I disappear.
and that was reasonably easy to kill those, but the Hive Guard in there are a big worry. And what was the other thing? Sisters.
Sisters, I've got Harlequin. That's the 3 matchups coming up for you, because Liam already won his match against the Salamanders.
I'm not even thinking about really. I haven't really thought much about it.
I just wanted to have some input. I think people are already happy. There was also a question from the chat how your matchup against Sisters is, and you answered that perfectly. Trevy, do you have any questions for the players?
Not really. I think this was a really interesting game to watch. A very cagey game. It felt like that maybe if there was more of a committal into the Orc Boys early, just to remove them as a threat, so that they couldn't, come in and grab another objective, and you could then force the guns to come forward into the guns of the Hive Guard. That might have been, I guess that might have changed the course of the game, but definitely well played by both of you.
Yep.
Well, thanks.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for the game. Great game again, and congratulations on the win and making it to the semifinals, Andy. I'm gonna wrap up the stream, and yeah, we go. I take you off the stream. Thank you again.
Good luck, Andy, and good night, everybody. Have a good one.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. So I'm just gonna go back on the opening screen. It's gonna be me and Trevy. I want to say thank you again, Trevy, for joining me today. Joining me for this stream tonight. It was a pleasure casting with you. Even though this game I feel it was a bit like very cagey, so maybe not that much action happening as last week's stream of ours with the Harridan dying turn 1. That was crazy, but I'm sure we're going to see lots of these moments in the coming days and also next weekend. So I will just give a short overview what's going to happen. So tomorrow we're going to have the second quarterfinal. This is the Forces of the Hive Mind against the Sisters. Then we're going to have the first semifinal. That's going to be the winner of that matchup against the Harlequins from the so already mentioned in Fiat Liam. And then on Monday, we're going to have the semifinal with one of the Necrons playing against today's winner, Orcs. And next week, Friday, we're going to have the third place match. And then on Saturday, the grand final with whoever's going to be that. People are going to continue, amazing people are going to continue joining me here, casting the stream as today. Thank you again, Trevy, for being here. And yeah, I hope to see you again, maybe we see each other in the Speedhammer tournament.
Oh yeah,
yes.
that'd be sick. Yeah, Fred, thanks for having me on. It was a pleasure to be on. It was a fun game to watch. Even the cagier games in 40K often are. It doesn't look like there's a lot of dice being rolled, but honestly, given how impactful every single move, of every model can be, I think it still means that they're some of the most tactical style of games that you get in 9th edition. So, a great game to watch. It was super fun, and I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, thank you very much. Okay. It was great to see you guys tomorrow then. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everybody in chat. Be good.